happened? Joe, what are you doing, man? That was good. Hello, Trento Vision. Tom Trento here. 3 minutes after. That was like, we were getting into it. I guess it's like a rule. You can only play a little bit. But that was in honor of who? Whose birthday is it today, ladies and gentlemen? Who? It is George Washington's birthday. It's the real birthday for George Washington, the 22nd. Anybody in here? Mark, you're the only one I think that can sing.
No.
We have to sing on today, the father of our country. We have to sing happy birthday. You don't want me singing happy birthday, believe me. You ready?
I like the Beatles version a lot.
I know. Joe, what are you doing?
What's going on with the Beatles version?
Come
on.
You crashed it on us. He's mad because we're leaving.
Yeah, no, he's mad, right? Because we're going to our new digs.
Somebody give him another cookie.
Give him a cookie. There we go.
There you go. Beatles.
Yeah. Oh, come on, Joe.
You can't do it. All right, Mark, go ahead. We have no music. This
I'll
is
find the
acapella.
Beatles version here on this, and I'll play it through here.
Okay. All right. Well, you get that ready because I think out of respect to the father of our country, we need to absolutely recognize him. He's 281 years old, and if he had an M4, he'd probably be alive today. But 281 years old. But we got a great show today, ladies and gentlemen. Tom Trento here, your host of TrentoVision.tv on the TV side of the simulcast. And on the audio side, and I don't see Trento Vision doing anything here.
I don't see anybody doing anything.
Oh, here we go. I'm on now. On the audio side, we're at WNN 1470. All right. We'll get it done, Joe. We got to have some words. There
you go.
Say we get it. All right, now segue right to happy birthday for George. That is a little scratchy. Go ahead, Mark. Lead us in happy birthday. Everybody.
Oh, I can hear
Happy
your...
birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear George. Happy birthday to you. All right. Way to go, man. He's rolling over in his grave right now. That's not unexpected. Not unexpected. Well, we got a great show for you.
No other show on the entire world probably sang George Washington happy birthday. I do have to say that.
With a Beatles intro. What? The diva.
What's up with this?
What?
I need the BBC
never mind.
network connection thingy.
Okay. I don't know. All right, anyway, Tom Trento here. That is CJ who's complaining off camera. We probably should bring her in.
No. You can keep me out.
No. We probably should bring her in. Here, I'm handing you this, whatever this means.
Okay.
We have a lot to do today, and if you were here with us, we would share some food and drink with you as it is
that for BBC?
As it is our last day, regrettably, in this studio. If you watched the show yesterday, you saw us jumping off the cliff and landing. We landed with our feet up. Our feet on the ground. We landed right side up. We have an underground bunker somewhere that we have put in a temporary television studio so that we can utilize all of our equipment and our talent to bring you late-breaking news, investigative stories, exposés, tremendous amount of visual material. We will always be conscious and developing our show for the radio side, because there's a whole ton of people that listen from North Miami all the way up to Orlando. But you will want to download iHeartRadio so you can listen, and Trento Vision so you can watch this show on your little iPhone, smartphones. So today is our last day here. I'm going to ask everybody a little later to share your farewell thoughts, okay?
No, You're going to get me crying again.
No, this is great.
This morning.
Everyone here has been absolutely wonderful. We have
man.
just outgrown the physical capabilities.
That's because Mark had so much stuff everywhere. We couldn't stop tripping.
We outgrew Mark's carrying 500 pounds of stuff up and down every day and back and forth and all of that. So, but we will be on Monday morning broadcasting somewhere else, same time, same bat channel, all of that. And for those of you just tuning in, Tom Trento, I direct the United West, a counterterrorism educational organization. And in that capacity, we fight all those who try to deconstruct, destroy, disable the United States Constitution. We think that thing that that George and his buddies kind of fought and died and bled over is still pretty good, and we believe, like Justice Anton Scalia, that the Constitution is dead, dead, dead. That it doesn't change every day with every political whim, every fancy that comes around the corner. It's a static document, and the political systems change and individuals change. And when you have a doctrinaire Marxist for a president, as we do now, and he wants to change the foundation of the... Think of this. You got a guy who is renting your building for 4 years, and you have a solid brick granite foundation, and he says, while I'm living in this house, I'm going to change your foundation around. I'm going to build this house. I'm going to take all the granite and concrete out, and I'm going to build it on sand. That's what I'm going to do. Well, if you were the owner of that home, you'd say, are you out of your friggin' mind? Well, that's exactly what this administration is doing to our Constitution, which is a granite foundation. The philosophical and political attacks against it are analogously trying to break up the granite and build it on sand. And when a house is built on sand, what happens to it? It goes bye-bye. It crumbles. That's what happens to it. So here's what we have for the next 3 hours. The first hour, we're going to take a look at Tea Party community. As you know, what was the date of that? Anybody remember our launch?
February 5th.
Was it February 5th?
It was February.
No, it was earlier than that.
February. I think
that's right. It was. It was because we had Jan.
It's only the 22nd.
I know.
No,
Is it only 2 weeks?
no, it was earlier than that.
No, I think it was the 5th.
Well, when Jan comes on, we'll ask her. When Jan comes on.
It was the first.
I don't know.
I don't know. We'll have
It
to
was.
check it.
It seems like it was 6 months ago, but it wasn't that long ago. In any event, right here
we
we
got
launched
over 113,000 members already.
113,000.
It was February 2nd. It was Saturday night, February 2nd.
That's right. It was.
Wow, 20 days ago, almost 3 weeks.
Well, that's phenomenal growth, though.
Well, there were only like 95 or so. So in 3 weeks, it's looks like about 10,000 a week. That's pretty wild.
Well, before it even launched, it had 25,000, then it just took off.
Took off from there, and there's been no real push or marketing of it in any.
No.
We have a huge mailing list, but we haven't even mailed out the complete list.
Well,
yet.
you know who's the biggest advertisers of the Tea Party community?
Us?
Facebook.
Yeah.
Seriously, because there's
By
such
default.
knuckleheads over there at Facebook that they start dropping off posts, they start banning people's content, and just because you're conservative, just because you have a conservative voice, you're banned, and that's insane.
Yeah, and it's very selective too in how they do it. So it's very, they think that there's not a systematic approach to it. But regardless, it's still become a Facebook, just a wide open cacophony of kind of craziness. This is a very refined group of warrior patriots, and so this first hour we're going to. Man, I can hear without the sponge on this thing. You hear every S. That's
just the ocean you hear.
Yes, it is. I'm sleeping. So this first hour, we're going to look at the Tea Party community now, and we'll define the Tea Party generally, and specifically this entity, this community called Tea Party Community, that features a couple of very unique individuals, and they will be on with us shortly. We're going to look at whether or not the Tea Party community can be a communications node and a community organizing entity that indeed can move an agenda forward that's necessary to truly, I've been doing this a long time, truly save the United States of America.
Which is in very serious need of saving.
Dire straits. So the first hour, we're going to do that, and we're going to ask you about the Tea Party. We want our viewers and listeners to give us a call, 888
565
1470.
888
565
1470.
Yeah, 888-565-1470. You can get in on the call. We want to know what you think, even you wacko liberals out there that listen to us.
And we know you do.
And we know you do. And
also the jihadis,
Michael,
we know you listen to us.
Yeah, the
also.
jihadis. Michael had a good
flog
point.
themselves too, probably.
Somebody, I read the chat thing yesterday where the guy said, "You people are so stupid. I wouldn't listen to you for 10 minutes I wouldn't
Except
listen
for he listened to the whole show.
Yeah, and Michael goes, "Except you're listening to the show." Apart from that. So, but we're in all honesty, we're open for any sort of criticism, constructive criticism. What are the faults of the Tea Party movement? What are the strengths? Is it dead? All of that, because this Tea Party community, folks, is growing like crazy. So we're going to take a look at that in the first hour. Second hour, we're going to look at Mr. Sequestration. It's sequestration time, suckers. We're going to look at the president's concept of destroying our economy. And the way in which he's proceeding to do that, this concept of sequestration, which is 1 week from today, actually. The process of sequestration hits 1 week from today, but very few Americans know what it means. We'll bring the cookies, as one of my professors used to say. You got to take the cookies down to the lower shelf. Speaking of cookies, do you still?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Would you like one?
Tell me when we got Ken on.
I will.
Okie doke. Joe's
I won't
still
hold that back from you.
Joe is still looking for a happy birthday, probably. I'm gonna get happy birthday.
Hey Joe,
back
can you
there.
tell Jan and Ken to call?
We're waiting for them.
We are
but
waiting.
No problem. The second hour we'll deal with the sequestration situation. It's a little complex to understand, but once we deconstruct and explain simply what it means, you'll understand, and you'll see that it actually could be something that's pretty good in many respects to discipline the lawmakers, Republican and Democrat. And sadly, as we've been saying for a long time on the show, and I think I'm a Republican.
And
most
they
of the people
do need discipline.
Yes, they do. I'm a Republican because of the philosophy of the Republican Party. But if the elected officials are not implementing the philosophy, then you either have to change the philosophy or remove the elected officials.
Hence, the Tea Party is very necessary.
Yes, and we're gearing up for 2014 because that's where the revolution ought to be, at the ballot box. That's the second hour. Third hour, we're going to take a look at the father of our country, George Washington. Take a look a little bit about his life, what he's done.
Truly an amazing man. I mean, in all aspects the history of him and what he did for this country and how he just relinquished power, just like first time ever in history that transfer of power was done.
Orderly transfer of power. That's what made this country great
Right.
and unique for a very long time.
Yeah, and without
now,
that,
not so much. Now the elections are all in doubt and fraud and voter fraud and rigging and who knows.
I mean, he could have very easily been king. Easily
yeah.
been king.
And people were accustomed to a king.
Thanks for the birthday song. I appreciate what you do, but don't touch me, George Washington. through Mort. And somebody else said, I joined Tea Party on November 26th. So explain how they did if we launched on February 2nd.
Well, we were actually doing a beta test on all the Tea Party sites before that, and it was only supposed to be a couple thousand members on the beta test site, and then when it launched, the official launch happened, that's when really opened up. In fact, the top of the things had beta on it as far as the Tea Party was concerned, because they want to get all the bugs out before the main launch came out. And then a lot of people joined in between there, and it just started growing. It got up to 25,000 members, all the way up through there. And And then when the Fox reporter got banned from Facebook, he put out a hit on us as far as the Tea Party community was concerned, and then the membership started climbing, and then the launch, then it just went steadily, and then the Fox News coverage and everything else like that just
little bit of, just very little
nothing. I mean, as far as like
Ken Crow went on Fox one morning,
right?
That was good,
but that still doesn't explain all the numbers, though. I mean, it really doesn't, because
we've touched a chord. There's a chord. There's a sensibility in Americans. The delusion. Yeah. Well, we'll get into that in a minute. But I got to show everybody this.
And then the massive.
Let me show you. Are you ready, Mike?
Yeah, we're all set.
Okay, you got to watch this. We'll get into the details and once the other guys call in. But I saw this. They played it a couple of times. And the more I looked at this video, the more I said, this is a guy you could truly sit down at a bar, have a beer with, and just have a blast.
Yeah.
You really could. No pun intended on the blast part.
Yeah.
But would I give him the keys to my automobile to let him drive anywhere? No. I wouldn't do that. Would I, if I had a kid, would I give him my child to babysit? No.
If I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning.
Would I make him the vice president of the United States of America? No. Would I want him to be one heartbeat away from being the president of America?
Would
no.
I want him to have a heartbeat?
Oh. Yeah. But this was a very interesting.
I can only play the audio.
We'll just play the audio.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not. Let me grab the video.
Yeah, just do the audio. It's fine. Listen carefully to the video. Is cool because you see him looking at this.
Vice President Joe Biden unplugged. As part of his leading role in the president's efforts to prevent gun violence, he was taking questions yesterday from readers of Parents Magazine.
Parents Magazine.
John Carl was listening in as both Biden and those readers got a little more than they bargained for.
Here's a side of Joe Biden you don't see every day. Buy a shotgun. Buy a shotgun. He wasn't doing a commercial for his favorite gun shop. He was responding to online questions from Parents Magazine. And he seemed to get a little rattled when some of the questions came from people unhappy with the president's gun
proposals. Guy asking a question is a guy, not a girl.
Do you believe that banning certain weapons and high-capacity magazines will mean that law-abiding citizens will then become more of a target to criminals, as we will have no way to sufficiently protect ourselves?
Is this Parents Magazine?
It is.
I have Parents Magazine at home. I've never heard anybody in Parents Magazine ask these kinds of questions. What's your name?
Kate.
Kate. If you want to protect yourself, get a double-barrel shotgun.
Listen.
Shotgun.
The vice president said that is exactly what he told his wife to do.
Said, Jill, if there's ever a problem, just walk out on the balcony here, or walk out, put that double-barrel shotgun, and fire 2 blasts outside the house. I promise you, who's ever coming in is not going to. You don't need an AR-15. It's harder to aim, it's harder to use, and in fact, you don't need 30 rounds to protect yourself.
Biden is the president's point man on gun control, but he has also repeatedly tried to show that he is a believer in the Second Amendment. To another reader of Parents Magazine, he said, I have 2 shotguns at home. Nobody is going to come and take my guns. And George, I have to say one more thing. From all of us here in Washington, welcome back.
Okay, what'd you say?
There was a quote that he said he was the best friend of.
Oh yeah, Joe Biden's the best friend of gun owners the last 30 years.
I mean, you can watch. You can watch.
Hey, Jed, let's go get some shotguns and blow them away. I mean, what's he trying to prove here?
You can watch that thing every day. There's a serious element to this. First of all, his son is the Attorney General in Delaware. Mm-hmm. And there's a question whether or not his son is going to have him arrested, because what he said is illegal.
I know. I was just asking about
that. That mic is really hot. That thing. Yeah. Shoot. You can't, even in Florida with the stand your ground law and your castle is your domain, all of that. You can't just willy-nilly point a shotgun out the window and start shooting it. There has to be a imminent threat. Unbelievable. if George, what would happen if George Bush had said something like that?
Oh, he'd be lambasted. Anybody would say that, other than the Biden or Obama. They'd be lambasted. Anyone, even a Democrat who said that, probably be lambasted.
Damon, what do you think when somebody elbowed Obama and said, "You're not gonna believe what he just said. Watch this," and they played it on the iPhone. What do you think Obama said? You can't say
He
bad
said,
words.
"Don't call
Let
me."
me go get my skeet.
Let me go get my skeet gun. Right?
We can go skeet shooting together.
I think he said, "I challenge you to a duel."
He goes. I think he said, 4 more years of this. 4 more years of this. Unbelievable. I don't know.
And here's the point. Also, is that let's say
that's why
you
he
have
likes the biker chicks
in Connecticut, the Connecticut shooting.
Oh.
If a guy would have went in there with a, shotgun, with a pump action shotgun versus the other guns that he used and this quote unquote assault weapons, he actually would have done more damage with a shotgun, killing all those different people. Because
a shotgun is a very deadly weapon, and
so far nobody's threatening to take away our shotguns. Let's not give anybody ideas.
Well, it's a preferred weapon of choice for SEALs when they go into close combat fighting.
Okay,
because
you're
it has,
persisting in giving
what I'm trying to say
away.
is the logic of their whole argument is insane.
Well, yeah, what he's trying to do is appeal to the Democrats that are Second Amendment people, and keep them in the coalition because they're starting to break off from this deal. And his President Obama's new regulations, whatever, for the Second Amendment are going no place fast. So but he just got caught. He got nailed. He got nailed with that question from Parents Magazine, no less. So you just take it, load up that double buck barrel.
Parents Magazine. Who'd have thunk? It would be like the last refuge for a journalist.
We kind of took this out of context because what he said was to turn your stereo on really loud and play a recording.
Oh, I'll play the recording of the shotgun. Okay, yeah. Well, Joe, you are the gift that never stops giving, that's for sure. Let's bring Ken on first, then we'll get going with him, then we'll bring Brian on. So hang on, okay. Brian. Oh, wait. Which Brian is it?
Brian in Boca.
Oh, okay.
Let's
Brian. Yeah, let's get Brian on
Brian
first.
on first.
Brian, come on, you're on with Tom and CJ and everybody else in here.
Brian.
How you doing?
Hey, guys. How you doing? A couple things about Biden. First off, on a lighter note, if his wife is in a situation so desperate that she has to get a gun, that means whoever is approaching the house has already taken out.
I forgot about
we know that.
Forgot about the Secret Service.
So a shotgun, especially an empty one, after she blows the 2 rounds out of the double barrel, aren't going to stop the jihadis or whoever the hell took out the Secret Service. But there's a bigger thing going on here. You see it with this astronaut, Mark Kelly, Gabby Gifford's husband, all the time. This business with the shotgun. They want to tell people, no, we support the Second Amendment. Shotguns are okay. These guns are okay. We only want these bad guns. You understand what I mean? They
sure, of course,
part of the gun culture.
Yeah.
And, and it's a very sophisticated. I saw Mark Kelly on Meet the Press, the astronaut, and he said, I own guns. Gabby Giffords has, Gabby has guns at home. I mean, have you seen Gabby Giffords lately? Is she the type of person you think should be owning a gun and possessing one?
No.
I mean, I feel bad for what happened to her, but I don't really, I don't believe that Gabby Giffords owns guns. I don't think Mark Kelly owns guns. It's just part of their narrative of propaganda so that they can go after our guns.
Yeah, they have to soften Obama's leftist, and we all know from historically from when he was in the Senate from not just the Senate, as a kid and then in the Senate, and we know his views. I mean, the way all of this stuff this is one of the most sophisticated administrations around. I mean, everything is planned, organized. They roll it out beautifully. Then Biden comes in and blows the whole thing to hell. So it's great.
Well, you know what? This about Biden. I know Biden says a lot of things like that are funny and everything. I think that's an act. this boob thing he's got going on. I think he is a very cunning,
I'm going to disagree with you, Brian.
character.
I don't know. You think he's just he's scripting this stuff out? Why do you think that? Well, let me do this.
Well,
we got a special guest coming on right now.
Well, you guys take care, and I'll just keep listening.
All right, great, thanks. That's Brian Craig, folks. He's
Good to see you, Brian.
See you, Brian.
Good
Thanks,
to hear
Brian.
you, Brian.
He's the morning host. He and Steve Kane on WNN from 6 to 9. Make sure you watch and listen to those guys. 6 to 9 every morning, WNN 1470. Brian Craig, Steve Kane. They start the day out, and then we kind of bring you home.
I think it would be fun to have Brian in the studio with us,
Yeah,
for a visit.
Yeah,
when after we make the move.
Yeah. He'd like from a techie party.
But it's going to be a lot of fun bringing Ken Crow on. Everybody, let's give Ken Crow a warm round of applause.
Aw, shucks.
Hello, Tom, CJ.
Hi,
Mark,
Ken.
Gang. How are you guys
Good,
today?
good. We have
Good.
we have James, our special guest, in here too.
Oh, James made it. Well, hello, Mr. James. How are you, sir?
I'm doing wonderful, Mr. Crow. How are you today?
Oh, wow. You guys sound the
They do.
same.
They're Alabama boys or whatever. They're both redneck guys.
Rednecks stick good together.
We officially have the goose down on. It's 23 degrees with 8 inches of snow on the ground.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, we'll talk tonight. We'll talk tonight on the cell phone when I'm sitting on my porch looking at the ocean in my shorts and my T-shirt.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh.
We've done that once before, I believe.
Ken, you're going to have to come
have.
back and visit us again.
Well, Tom has promised a cot in the garage, and I'm about to take him up on it.
Well, I have to tell you, he probably doesn't really have room in his garage, so I think...
Okay, then. Well, how is everybody today?
Well, it's George Washington's birthday. He's 281 years old, and he's still going strong. You know that? So we're having a good time.
Amen.
But what we want to do, Ken, is give everybody an update. We have many Tea Party community members that watch the show. We get emails and texts and all of that every day. And we know Tea Party community's been through some rough water with these attacks. So we wanted to kind of give everybody a status report on the Tea Party community A, and then a little bit of discussion about how the community could be positioned in this point in history to move a conservative agenda forward. So why don't you give us a status report on the community itself, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, the site is officially being upgraded almost daily. Tim Saletti Jr. is drinking lots of Red Bull, burning the midnight oil, getting holes plugged. We're getting a handle on where we affectionately refer to them as trolls.
What is that, Ken?
On the troll.
What is a troll? I don't quite understand that.
Well, a troll is somebody usually from the left. And what they do is they make it their life's mission to make conservative websites miserable. And what they'll do, and CJ's laughing, but CJ, this is bad.
I know,
These guys
I know.
will come in and they post just stupid, childish, inane things. They stir the pot. They'll come in and tell our membership, you guys are stupid for being conservatives, and they just cause mischief. They're a bunch of liberal mischief makers is what they are. And they sometimes will make attempts to hack. They've come in, they figured out how a couple of times we have our moderators within the site, and they have special little logos that say TPC with our logo on it, right? And they moderate the site. Mm-hmm. And if they see something they don't like, they'll take down that photograph, or they'll kill that poll, or whatever the case may be. Well, these little guys have figured out how to sneak in, and they make their own moderator profile. Instead of calling themselves Jim Jones, they'll be TPC Moderator 11.
Oh.
And we've got them figured out. If Tim Jr. does and Senior, and they're banging on their heads every time we find one of them. We whop them on the head with a band hammer, you know. But we're slowly getting a handle on all of that. We have officially come. Here's your big political update. We have finished our mission statement for the site, and it is absolutely beautiful. I believe James has a copy of it. He could read it if you'd like. I believe
got a copy with you?
Mr. Trento may have a finalized copy of it as well. Feel free to read it on the air if you like. It's quite extensive.
I have it. We'll go through it in a little bit.
Very impressive. And basically what we're doing, ladies and gentlemen, is we're now accumulating political power through membership. And the more members we have, the more powerful we're going to be. And we're getting ready to make liberal Democrats and liberal Republicans' lives a nightmare in the very near future, their political lives.
That sounds good to me.
And we're gonna get her done, as Larry the Cable Guy would say.
Get her done.
We've got a wonderful team. We've got Jan Morgan on board, our pretty lady carrying the AR-15 and doing NRA classes around America and speaking Sharia law. I believe Mr. Trento is teaching us about the ill effects of Sharia law and the Islamic terrorists that are plaguing our nation. And we've got a great crew put together to spread the message to America, and I am just thrilled to be a part of what the Saletti family and everybody's put together. This is just dynamic membership, and everybody is so motivated and so ready to go to work for America and our liberty and our freedom, and I am just excited beyond belief.
Excellent. This is Tom Trento, TrentoVision.tv at 35 minutes. 35 minutes already
That
past
means
3 o'clock
2
on the
hours
East
and
Coast.
25 minutes
Yes.
to go.
Yes,
Tom.
we got a lot of material to go through, and we have Ken Crow out of frosty, freezy, icy, cold Iowa on the phone. Ken is looking for spare rooms. If anybody has a spare room for our friend Ken, he's here. CJ's here, Mike, Mark, and James is with us, our special guest, just having fun in here and trying to push the agenda forward to save America. All right, if you want to get involved, if you want to ask Ken Crow a question, or if you want to complain to Ken Crow, anybody out there from Tea Party community, Ken's one of the primary leaders of the community itself. You saw him on the launch here on February 2nd, Saturday. Ken, do you believe it was not even 3 weeks ago that we launched this thing?
I know.
That's amazing. Ken was the guy.
Amazing.
Ken was the guy with the cheap black hat. I had the white Stetson. I was the guy with the white Stetson.
I think he picked it up at Walmart or something on his way here. Yeah.
So 888-565-1470. 888-565-1470. Mark, you got a question for Ken?
Yeah. Since this is George Washington's birthday, and we go back to those times and realize what this few small group of men did, and what a few small group of men are doing to this country right now.
Doing to the country.
Right,
yes.
right. Yes. And the Tea Party community, if we can take this and take it to the next level, we can actually get those few small groups of people who are like-minded thinking together and actually have some effective change back the way it should be. Because right now the left owns the media. They own the internet, if you will, as far as social media networks, Twitter, Facebooks, and what have you. And there's really no real outlet for conservatives. And this is a fabulous opportunity, what you guys are doing with the Tea Party community. The very first minute I saw it, I knew this was something that we had to be involved in, that it was just something that's dynamic and fascinating, where we can bring all these different people together with like minds to make that effective change like happened back in the Revolutionary War.
Absolutely. The exciting part from our point of view, the United West, and so that the audience understands, the viewers and the listeners, the United West, which is our sister organization, it's a counterterrorism activism organization. We're all pretty good at what we do, but we go after the bad guys. We go to where they live and play, overseas or here in America, wherever it may be. We confront them face to face, and we don't use weapons. We use cameras and our brains and those sort of things, and expose them for who they are. We're activists. When we saw Tea Party community, we said, wow, this is going to be a community of people that have the potential to become active, to fight the battles face to face against the left, against the communists, the Marxists, the Sharia-compliant Muslims. So, Ken, we're very excited when this community's coming together. And I've been following a lot of the postings, and there's some serious dudes and dudettes on Tea Party community. And I'm not talking about people that want to do revolution in the street. I'm talking about serious people that know we intellectually and politically have to fight this battle. We got to get organized. And the solution is not in the Republican Party as it stands right now. That's the problem. So Tea Party community is very exciting. James, what are your thoughts on all of this?
Well, the Tea Party, the way I got involved with the Tea Party community per se was actually I was on Facebook and did not like Facebook in the least, and had been following Jan for quite some time. And one day she posted a link to the Tea Party community site when it was still in the beta testing. And I clicked on it. I promptly went back to my Facebook page and said, I'm no longer on Facebook. If you're looking for me, you can find me here. And I left a link to the Tea Party community.
Oh, that's cool.
I haven't been back since to
cool.
Facebook.
Right.
And so
Way to go.
It made the switch. And through that, started becoming extremely active in my postings and just in different areas, kind of like behind the scenes in the Tea Party community page, talking with people, chatting with people. Ken and I got to know each other, and then both Tim Jr. and Tim Saletti Sr. Ended up on my friends list, and one thing's kind of led to another, and I feel like I'm growing with the party, and I'm going to say this. I don't know if it's politically correct or incorrect on this session, but Godspeed, not mine.
Oh, it's good.
And that's where I'm very comfortable being right now. So I'm 100% behind this party in every form and fashion that there could possibly be, because truly the Republicans, and I was born and raised Republican, but that when they started going as midline as they go, they'll say a conservative statement to get elected, but then when they get in office, they want to go midstream and go in the wrong direction, in my personal opinion, a lot of them, not all. And in doing so, that's what made me become such an extreme right-wing conservativist, and where I can label myself as nothing more than a Tea Party member, and very proud of it. So,
yeah, it's very interesting. It's very well. Go ahead, Ken. What were you going to say?
I just wanted to make this one comment, and Mark alluded to it a few minutes ago. You know, our nation started basically, if you go back and look, we had basically one man that actually started this revolution, and that was John Adams when he took to the floor of the Continental Congress, and the other 51 members wanted to lynch him for treason. And Ben Franklin got him out of the room and said, come on, boy, we're going to teach you how to be a politician. And that's basically the way all this got started. But the point being is our nation was started by literally a handful of men. And they did so because they stood on the side of righteousness and on the side of what was right. And they had the help of God because of that. Well, today, we feel the same way. And I know James and I have talked about it. You and I have talked about it, Mr. Trento, and I've talked about it with several other people. And we are standing on the side of what is right. We are wanting to teach the man how to fish, not hand him fish every day for the rest of his life.
Right.
We're wanting to do what conservatives do, which is stand up, be strong, do what's virtuous, have honor, do what's right. We're not wanting to wallow in self-pity. We're not wanting to take handouts. We're not. A country cannot survive. Look at France. Look at Greece. Look at all these nations. You know, sooner or later, you run out of people to pay the bill, and it doesn't work anymore. And that's where we're headed if we don't turn it around. And I don't want to see the lives of literally millions of heroic patriots that are lying in the ground for the freedom and liberty that was purchased in this nation with their blood go away in vain. Amen. And I'm not going to do it as long as I have a breath left in my body. And I know Tim Saletti, I know James Richardson, I know you, Tom, I know CJ. Everybody feels the same way that's on our team, and I'm sure they feel the same way on your team.
Amen.
We are fighting for America. We're fighting for her freedom and her liberty, which is being stripped, that those men paid the price for. And I'm not going to do it. We've got the platform system. We've got the team put together. We've got the analytics. We've got a great crew behind us and some very devoted patriots that love this nation. And we're going to go down fighting, and I don't think we're going to go down.
I was going to say, if we fight, we won't go down.
Hey, watch this.
No.
Watch this. All right, audio only's fine. Right now, I'm gonna play a video, but audio only, and it's from 30, and we'll bring a caller. It's from 30 years ago, but it follows, Ken, exactly what you just said. This is from 30 years ago. It's a long-hair hippie asking Milton Friedman a question, and then Milton Friedman answers the long-hair hippie, and we were all long-hair hippies at one point.
Is it possible to build a system based on this equality, which I believe that many people agree in, and would not be willing to sacrifice to the liberty?
In my opinion, a society that aims for equality before liberty will end up with neither equality nor liberty.
Listen, keep listening.
And a society that aims first for liberty will not end up with equality, but it will end up with a closer approach to equality than any other kind of system that has ever been developed. You can only aim at equality by giving some people the right to take things from others.
That's right.
And what ultimately happens when you aim at equality is that A and B decide what C shall do for D.
That's right.
Except that they take a little bit of a commission off on the way.
That's right. Except,
that's pretty good.
And I couldn't believe it when you sent those links for the Milt Friedman videos this morning, because ironically, Ken, this is interesting. When Tom was asking me to do some research when you guys were doing your Tea Party launch show, that was one of the video clips that I had to show when you and Jan were in the studio.
Wow.
Yeah, I couldn't, and then I saw it today, and now you're on the show, so you get to hear my video after all.
Well, I have another one. I have another one that we'll play in a little bit.
That's right.
This time it's not a long-hair hippie asking Milton Friedman. Who's asking it?
It's Donahue.
Phil Donahue.
Oh, yeah.
Not that,
asking him about capitalism.
Yeah.
I mean, capitalism, come on. You know, he's asking him.
Phil Donahue.
Capitalism, is it really fair?
Yeah. Is it really fair? You know.
Can't we do better than that?
I was actually on the Phil Donahue show.
You were?
Yes. I was a guest.
Wow.
I was a guest on the stage, a audience guest.
Uh-huh.
But John Denver was there, and I got to ask John Denver the last question of the. It was very interesting.
Cool.
I asked him if he believed in God.
Yeah. And what did he say?
He was
too high.
He was a total space cadet. He gave this whole love and peace, and we're all together.
Okay, that would be no.
I said, Mr. Denver. I said, do you believe in a personal God? I mean, I'm trying to figure out where you believe in. Do you believe in a person? We're in Colorado, right?
Right.
Do you believe in a personal God? Well, the way it works. It was hysterical. But why don't you bring in whoever's on the phone?
Okay, next on the line, we have Betsy on the line.
Hello, Betsy.
If Joe puts her on.
Joe's talking.
Joe's talking. Joe's busy. Hi, Betsy. This is Tom and CJ and everybody else.
Thank you, Joe.
Great.
Hi,
hey,
Betsy.
there you go,
Can
Betsy.
me?
Yes.
Great. I just wanted to put a couple of thoughts out there. I called the show before. I'm fairly liberal, but having my choice, I would vote Republican, as I have for probably the last decade, and mostly because of foreign policy issues.
Mm-hmm.
So, CJ, I think you know me. I lived in Israel, and I've worked a lot with, terrorism issues.
Right.
I called before.
Yes.
I've been very liberal, but I think you refer to me as the old type liberal. Like
I refer to you as the classic liberal. You are a classic liberal,
right.
which
most modern conservatives actually are.
Right, and actually, even what you said, give me liberty first. If you look at words, it comes from the root of liberal. But the reason I'm calling just is this: I don't want to lose again any of us, whether we refer to ourselves as extreme right wing, which is I respect completely that term, or people in the middle, or people that are hovering. But if somebody's going to say, look, I'm choosing the Republicans because of something bigger than me or a smaller issue, let's say, which I said before, I mean, I'm looking towards 4 years and seizing back, if I can use that word, all grounds. You know, some people refer to it as the big tent. And I sort of see people in the Republican Party leading that way, and let's disagree with them, let's correct them, whether they're left or right, whatever party, gender, whatever. But since we only have two parties, I just think we should try to bring people in more so that we can win, certainly in 2 years to hold, a balance in this country, and in 4 years to maintain the freedoms of this country, and especially, happy birthday, George Washington.
Right.
Yes, and we have, Betsy, we have the perfect person on the line, just calling in our special guest who will give us the answer to your question. Jan Morgan, are you there?
Yeah.
Yes,
Betsy, listen to Jan.
Hi.
Meet Jan.
Hi, Jan. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm sorry. I heard you say that I had the perfect answer for the question, and I missed out on part of the question.
Oh, you missed out on part of the question.
I'll help you out.
Let me wait.
I think
Jan.
Betsy,
hang on. Let me get the audience up to speed. This is Jan Morgan, who was here for the launch on February 2nd, Saturday night. The Jan Morgan Media is one of your websites, janmorganmedia.com. You can go there, and Jan's all over the internet. In fact, James found all of us through Jan. So, and James, I'll tell you, Jan and Ken were here for 2 days, and we all spent 2 days together, and it was like we knew each other for a lifetime, and it was lifelong bonds. You can see that. So welcome back, Jan Morgan, to Trento Vision. How are you? CJ will tell you what the question was, and then you can answer it.
Well, I'm going to answer the question.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to answer the question because the question was a little long. It was really more of a comment. Betsy, I hate to tell you, but you are a Tea Party community person. You may not have ever thought of yourself as such a person, but that's exactly who you are. And everything you stand for and everything you want to try to accomplish in the next 2 to 4 years, you're going to find the people who you're looking for on the Tea Party community. And I really hope you check that out. I think you're going to find a lot of people who came from your similar background and really are where you are politically right now.
Let's get Jan into the conversation. Jan, Betsy is a classic liberal, a sort of a JFK liberal, and is concerned about where the Republican Party is now, and do we need to have this big tent to bring people in? Share your thoughts on how the Tea Party and the Tea Party community can effect change in 2014.
I think the best way the Tea Party community is going to be able to affect change is the fact that it's a place where we all can come together and network. It's, there are so many different grassroots Tea Parties out there, and everybody's working in their own direction. What the Tea Party community is going to do, and is already doing, is bringing us all under one umbrella. And then, of course, there are different state locations on the Tea Party community where you can actually get in contact with people in your state who are of like mind and want to battle the same issues that you're interested in battling, and you can network that way. The problem is we've all been out there individually trying to affect change by doing what we can on our local level and our state level, but the Tea Party Community Network is just going to give us a place to all come together to strategize, and when we all work together, there is power in numbers, and I think we can affect change on a national level when we can go to our legislators and say, look, this is where we stand on this particular issue. You're either going to be with us or we're going to get someone who will replace you. We have the power, we have the numbers on a national and on the state level to elect the kind of people who represent the values in America that made this country great. And we intend to bring America back to what it once was, the great constitutional republic that she once was. You're either going to be with us or you're against us, and that's how it's going to work.
Betsy, what are your thoughts? Betsy, we lost Betsy. Okay. Sounded good to me. Yeah, Ken, say hello to Jan, Ken.
Ken and Jan, I mean, it just sounds like they should have their own show, doesn't
Ken
it?
and Jan.
Hi, Jan. I wanted to echo something CJ said a minute ago, and you started to hit on
wait, both of you guys are talking.
regarding Betsy.
Well, hang on. You both were talking. Go ahead, Ken. You go, and then Jan will bring you in a second.
Okay, I apologize. I wanted to
you guys
echo
can't hear each
something that CJ said a minute ago, and I wanted to carry it forward a little bit when you made the comment that Betsy was actually ideal for Tea Party community. What so many people don't realize today is that the John F. Kennedy Democrats, by definition today, would actually be moderate to conservative Republicans.
Exactly.
The Democratic Party has gone so far to the left that it no longer represents the JFK value system. It's now pure socialism or Marxism. It's no longer the old FDR or JFK or Truman Democratic Party. It left you guys a long time ago. The Tea Party community is comprised, believe it or not, of a lot of those super conservative Democrats from the 60s and the early 70s and what have you, as well as the old Christian Coalition, the Reagan Republicans, and people like that.
Yeah.
And I'm going to back out now and let Jan comment on that, because I'd love to hear her thoughts.
No, I agree, Ken, and just as well, the Republican Party, the establishment Republican Party, has moved so far to the left, and in some cases, they're not. There's a disconnect between conservatives, many conservatives in this country, and our values, and where the Republican Party is standing today. We've got to straighten out the Republican Party as well, and I think that the Tea Party community is in a great position to do that. And if we can't do that, then we'll put forth our own candidates.
Yeah, excellent. Jan, you have a friend in the studio with us today. In fact, someone that all of us we all got together and you got involved in all of this. Have you ever spoken to Jan?
No.
Here you go, man. Say hello.
Jan Morgan, this is James Richardson. How are you doing today?
Hi, James. Great to talk with you. I'm doing great.
Great to talk with you, too. I wanted to share with you, I don't know if you heard earlier in the segment, you are actually what got me involved with the Tea Party community page.
Wonderful. Glad to hear that.
I had been following you on Facebook for quite some time, was always very impressed with your postings, but did not like the general flavor of Facebook at all. Was looking for something new. You put up a link saying if you want something like Facebook but for conservatives, here's where to go. I clicked on the link. I went to it. It was still in beta testing at the time in the very formidable days. Immediately joined. I went back to Facebook. I posted on my site that I would no longer be on Facebook, and if someone was looking for me, they could find me, and I left a link to the Tea Party community. So that was due to a posting that you did. So any of my 1,600 plus friends on Facebook that come looking for me will see the link, then hopefully wake up and come over to the Tea Party and make a difference with us.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yes, I'm glad that I played a part in that. That's wonderful to know.
Can I ask Jan and Ken a question?
Of course.
A lot of our callers and the previous caller, Betsy in particular, are really concerned about national security issues. Can you tell us a little bit about how the Tea Party community is shifting a little bit and becoming more aware of and active in national security issues?
And we have about 1 minute in this segment, so why don't you take that, and then we can spill over to the next hour.
Okay, I'll go ahead and then Jan can chime in as well. We are very, very, very staunch, and if you read our mission statement, it's very clear in our mission statement. We support our allies. We do not care for those that don't support our allies. We believe in a strong military to protect America and her allies and her interests. We are very much cognizant of the dangers of the world in the Tea Party community. We believe that we need to be recognizing the issues going on around the world, and we need to protect and support the politicians that are going to look out for America's interests first. And as far as my personal opinion, we need to shut the Mexican border down now. We need to build a 2,500-mile fence, and we need to arm it with military personnel. That's my opinion.
Okay, and on that
That's a good
note,
spot to
On that note, we're going to have
finish
to
the hour,
we got to finish the hour. And Jan and Ken, can you guys hang over for the top of the hour, about 4 minutes after? All right, great.
Okay,
we're going to go through the Tea Party community mission statement. It's really beautifully written, and it'll give all the viewers and listeners out there on Trento Vision a comprehensive and detailed look at what this thing is all about. If you think the Tea Party is just a bunch of yahoos, they carry guns and cling to their religion, well, there may be some. That's okay, But there are some people that are on the other end of the spectrum. People with advanced degrees that say, "I believe in these principles," and there's some people that are just blue collar, salt of the earth people and say, "I believe in these principles." It's principle driven. Hang in here. You're with Jan Morgan and Ken Crow, Tom Trento, Trento Vision. We'll be right back.
You served your country and is here to serve you. If you're a veteran in crisis or know a veteran who...
I think so. Be sure to eat up all the good food out there. We brought some... I'm Italian. We throw parties all the time. All right, Tom Trento, Trento Vision, 406 on the East Coast. If you're in California watching the show, and we have a lot of people out there, your afternoon is just starting. If you're in Iowa, I don't know what time. I don't know what time... how the clock works in Iowa, but it's cold out there. I can tell you that it's cold in Iowa. It's air-conditioned weather in Florida. I think it's about 80, 82 degrees, something like that. And our friends in Europe, 10, 11 o'clock at night right now, they're all just going out to eat, because in Europe, that's when you go out to eat, around 10 o'clock at night or so. But right now, today, on TrentoVision.tv, we're doing several things. One is we are celebrating the birthday of George Washington. He's 281 years old today. That's how old he is today. This is his real birthday, February 22nd. And all the kind of national stuff got crazy, and we had holidays and Mondays and those sort of things. They all took place. But this is his real birthday, and we're going to talk about him a little later. Right now we're on the Tea Party community, and the Tea Party as a movement. This is also our last day, the Trento Vision last day for this studio. We will continually be on the air, but we have built a temporary television studio in a underground bunker somewhere. And we did our one show yesterday to kind of test the equipment. And we have a few little bugs. Those of you who watched it, you saw the bugs there. And starting on Monday, though, we are biting the bug bullet, and we will be broadcasting from our studio. And the show will take on, still great for radio, but it's going to take on a television format with various sets and video feeds and live reporters out on different events, Skyping in or live streaming in from all over the world. So it's going to be a very, very unique kind of program. So we're very excited about it. But we feel so badly about having to leave the Beasley Broadcasting Company, because these folks have been absolutely great. We come here every day, but we simply outgrew the facility. So as we're talking about saving America, this thing, the Tea Party, what? You can talk to me.
No, bring that to a two-shot.
Okay. Is he coming on?
Yeah.
Oh, we have a new guest in the studio, and James is his name. We'll bring him out in a second. As we talk about saving America, the historians will record that the Tea Party movement was significant in the late part of the the early part of the 21st century. And today we're talking about a fundamental movement right now, a unique organizing community that could have the potential to impact it even greater, the United States of America. And two key people are on the line with us. I'm going to ask both of you to reintroduce yourselves. Tell us what's going on in your life right now, briefly, and how people can get in touch with you. Both of you are well known within the Tea Party movement. We'll let ladies go first. Jan Morgan, our dear friend, how are you? What do you do, and how can people get in touch with you? And then we'll get to Ken, and then we'll get to our guest here, and then we'll get into the show.
Okay. Hi, Tom Trento. Great to be here with you today. I'm really excited about your new studio. Congratulations on that. Basically, I have a website called Jan Morgan Media. I'm a fierce defender of the Second Amendment. I'm a Second Amendment advocate, do a lot of speeches around the country at Tea Party rallies and Second Amendment rallies. Just came back from New York. I did one in Montgomery, Alabama as well. Wherever the battlefront is on the Second Amendment, that's where you will probably find me. I'm also a strong advocate for educating people on the Islamization of our country. That's how I came into contact with you, Tom, because of all the work you do with the United West, and I certainly am grateful for your hard work in exposing the what's happening in our country related to Islam. And just recently, I posted some of your work on your guest who talked about John Brennan and the fact that he is a Muslim. Some of the things that you exposed in that interview were shocking, and one of the things I think that is great about the Tea Party Community Network is that we are sharing information like that and putting fact-based, solid information out there to the American people that they are not getting in other social media networks, and they're not getting it from the mainstream media. So that's what I'm out there doing, and I am certainly honored to be affiliated with the Tea Party community and with you, Tom Trento.
Oh, and the feeling is mutual. And as you're speaking, I'm rambling through my head. We have to do some shows together, Mark, Jan, and we got to get her involved with us to actually come in the studio.
It's already happening. Both of you don't even know it.
Okay, do some specials or something, because I think
it's already in the planning stages in my head.
I think we can hurt the bad guys. Help the good guys and hurt the bad guys. Ken Crow, tell everybody. We're on drive time in South Florida on the radio side, and he wants to come on. Brian Craig, or somebody else.
Yes.
Okay. Hang on, Ken. I got to take a couple of calls here.
Sure.
And but every hour people are recycling, getting in their automobiles, and so I want to reintroduce you. But Craig is on.
So tomorrow, it's a rally for to defend our constitutional rights and to be able to protect ourselves and our property at Holiday Inn Express in Valparaiso.
Well, yeah, if you could send us the information, Tom at TrentoVision.tv. What we'll do is either if we have somebody over there or have somebody there shoot some video, and then we can do a report on it on Monday as to what took place, because we know we're going to get minimal coverage on the MSM mainstream media.
Really?
That's a perfect example of what.
Really, they won't cover a Tea Party event in a positive light? Are you kidding
on
me?
guns?
On guns?
No
Oh my
less?
God!
Yeah. So, all right, Craig.
Yeah, we got to shed some light to the public of, just how unconstitutional the government is.
Yeah, absolutely. So send me a note on that. Let me get back to Ken Crow. Thanks for calling in, Craig. I only got these guys for a little while. Ken Crow, introduce yourself and what's going on right now in your life, and then I want to introduce our special guest in the studio.
Sure. Well, my name is Ken Crow. I am the co-founder, along with Tim Saletti Sr. and Jr. and Michelle, of Tea Party Community. You can reach me anytime at Tea Party Community. Just friend me, send me a little private message, introduce yourself, and tell me how I can help you. I am up to my neck almost to 20 hours a day, to 22, somewhere in there, working for the Tea Party Community, Tom. It's simple as that. We're trying to save America. There are, right now we know for a fact here in Orlando, but we're going to have to pull to truly make a difference. We're going to have to unify. That's the bottom line, America. We're going to have to unify and speak with one voice. So we built a social community that is very user-friendly. It's much like Facebook. You'll recognize it when you get there. You're going to know how to do everything. And this is a spot where we're unifying.
All right, well, that sounds great. And one way in which the Tea Party and the Tea Party community can unify is through an interesting statement that an individual made some years back that serves as a template for the Tea Party community's mission statement. But in reality, This is more a manifesto than a mission statement. I'm going to read a little bit, and I'm going to ask our guest here, James, to reflect on what I'm going to read. Okay, James? And this is the manifesto, or the mission statement, from the Tea Party community, the group that we're talking about, 113,000 strong, from what we now regard as Freedom Hall so many years ago. And this is a great story. We've all heard this. He was asked by a passerby, don't forget, this is Independence Hall in Philadelphia. You got to put it on your bucket list, folks. Mark and I and others were there inside. It's a small little room. You ever been there?
Yes.
Small little room, wooden floor, just amazing. When Ben Franklin walked out, as actually a woman said to him, "So, doctor, what sort of government did you give us?" And in that very famous statement, Benjamin Franklin said, "I gave you a republic if you can keep it." Well, the mission statement goes on and says the United States of America has long held that the Founding Fathers and those remarkable documents that these visionary gentlemen created have guided, these documents have guided this great country for centuries of freedom and liberty for all the citizens. And in the tradition of our greatest leaders, this has formed and constructed the foundation from which this great nation was built upon. The organization known as the Tea Party community was built upon those principles. Tea Party community is a social community platform which was created to connect and empower like-minded political conservative individuals. Tea Party community is an intended safe haven, gathering, a location to share ideas, unify as a movement, and to organize strategy, not just to make noise, but to organize strategy to restore America to her rightful spot as one of the greatest nations on the world. If you want to get in on this conversation with Jan Morgan, Ken Crow, and our guest James, give us a call at 888-565-1470. The Tea Party community member can organize, communicate, and share valuable information on upcoming events, rallies, and meetings. Through this venue, the Tea Party community, the unified community can effectively begin the process of organizing into a viable political force that speaks to our elected officials in one voice. In one voice. The leadership of the Tea Party community is dedicated. James, I'm going to ask you to share your thoughts on this. Then we'll take the first call. To share is dedicated to altering the current situation in America today. We at the Tea Party community are dedicated to educating the American population through a complete media system of America's issues that are so damaging to our nation. We will not rest until America is restored to her greatness. Once again, that shining city on a hill. James.
When the mission statement was laid out and written by Ken, there was a tremendous amount of thought put into this, and he had been speaking about it to me for about what the ideals were, and actually everyone that are the administrators and founding members of the Tea Party community and I were on a conference call. Ken, what was that, a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, something like that. Yes, sir.
But as we did that, I expressed, my truest sense of frustration with the Tea Party itself. And by that, I simply mean that the Tea Party there's approximately 62 million Tea Party members in the United States, but we are extremely fragmented all over the country in literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different groups. And because of that, there has not been the unity that the Tea Party needs to be able to carry a strong enough voice to Washington that's going to carry enough weight to where we can truly make a difference in restoring our country, as is well written by Ken Crow, back to the shining city on the hill. And that's exactly what the Tea Party community is doing. Everyone that is on our page it's just amazing the level of sensibility that's put into it by the members at the Tea Party community. That's www.teapartycommunity.com. Please sign up and join. If you're a liberal, you won't last long. If you're a true patriot, you're going to be more than welcome.
Amen.
But anyway, it's truly an honor and a pleasure to get to be a part of that community, and I truly love what's there. But it's just a simple matter of this is a way of unifying true constitutionalist beliefs and views of bringing back our country to where it belongs. And in my personal opinion, it's been stolen from us. It just straight out has been stolen, and we were lied to, and we were stolen from. And if we stand by idly, and then something were to go very negatively wrong in any way in our own country, and we did not do everything possible within our own means, financially, through time and effort, through participation, through every means possible, and then something goes bad, we have no one to blame but ourselves. When I came to that realization, that's when I really became extremely active with the Tea Party community, and making great strides to pursue hopefully all of our dreams, and we'll get to see them in the 2014 elections, and hopefully by then we will have been organized enough to carry enough weight to where we will make that difference in Washington.
Make those dreams, become dream makers. We have Danita on the line. Danita is one of the luminaries in the Tea Party in the state of Florida from Fort Lauderdale. In fact, tomorrow. I'll let her explain. Danita, welcome. I think you know Ken and Jan. You haven't met James yet, but I'm sure you will somewhere. Hi, Danita. How are you?
Good. Well, tomorrow is a big day for us. It's our 4-year anniversary as a Tea Party. And what that means is that several things. We've worked for that long. We've had meetings for that long. But I think what we're most known for is that we are the longest-running Tea Party in America. We have stood on the same corner at the same intersection for 208 straight Saturdays.
That's
with
amazing.
Our flags and our signs.
Wow.
That is amazing.
And so pretty much everybody in this large county knows who we are. And so tomorrow is 4 years, February 2009, after the rant from Santelli. So we put it together right then. So it's going to be a big day tomorrow. Tom is speaking there, and Joyce Kaufman, who's local, and Reverend O'Neill Dozier, who's local, my pastor, and also. Tomorrow, it just happens that it falls on the Day of Resistance, and there are rallies all across America. So we are also that's also going on the corner tomorrow too, which is in answer to what President Barack Obama did to us, issued 23 executive actions against our Second Amendment constitutional right to bear arms. And he did it without the consent of Congress. So in response to these unconstitutional actions by the president, we are standing together tomorrow all across America. So we'll have a lot of people out there for that as well.
And Danita is a perfect example of what this Tea Party community is about. Is take these individual, everything, like they say, all politics is local, all Tea Party activism is local. And it comes up from the grassroots back up. You're in essence creating the movement, the groundswell from the ground up, and that's how it has to start.
And this community can help do that nationally.
And show how to repeat that nationally.
We could have 100 Danitas all over the country,
and they don't have to.
Oh my God!
They don't
imagine
that. And they don't have to be part of from all different types of Tea Parties, but have a centralized focus of what to do, a rallying point.
Oh, very cool. All right, thanks, Danita. Any questions for Jan Morgan or Ken Crow or James?
No, I look forward to seeing you all again. James, I don't know you yet.
We will meet tomorrow.
We'll meet tomorrow. Okay, I was thinking about that. All right, well, really good, guys. Take care. You're doing a great job.
Thank you very much, Danita.
An honor. Thank you, Danita.
All right, bye-bye, Danita. We've been working with Danita for many years, and she is, and I'll say this tomorrow. She asked me to speak there, and Reverend O'Neill Dozier is an international figure. He's the black pastor that was very close to the Bushes until he spoke out on Islam, and the Bushes threw him under the bus.
Literally,
he is he's an attorney. He retired from the Army, got his law degree, went into the ministry, played for the Chicago Bears. I mean, just an amazing guy. And he'll be there. But Danita is an elegant warrior. She has the heart of a combat storm fighter, a door kicker down.
Her son's a Marine.
Yeah, her son's a Marine. She has the heart and the fight of that kind of individual, but a very elegant woman. I mean, she's a very feminine, very elegant woman. And almost like the other, almost
don't
like
make her mad.
Yeah, don't make her mad. Yeah, almost like I think exactly like the other lady on the phone, another elegant warrior. Sometimes on our side we have the other side has nasty haggy, whatever you want to call them. But the conservative side has the beautiful women. I mean, we really do. So I don't know how that works out. You ever notice that, James?
I've definitely noticed that.
You can. You ever notice that?
I'm telling you, we have the prettiest warriors on the planet.
Amen.
Well, thank you, Ken. I appreciate that, buddy. I didn't know you thought of me that way, bud.
No, I didn't mean it.
Here goes your reputation, Ken. Yeah, you were a bull rider. Sure you were. All right. Let me read one statement that I want Jan to and Ken to weigh in. The founders of the Tea Party community believe the Constitution was written and ratified to protect the citizens from possible abuses of the government. Come on now, guys. How could the government abuse its citizens?
Oh, can I please jump in first on that?
Go right ahead. Go right ahead.
Please allow me, and I'll try not to take the stand and take over the mic and never give it back to you for the rest of the show.
Okay.
I was asked that same question once when I was doing a show in Georgia, and one of the co-hosts, it was a Second Amendment program, and she asked, but, I said that the Second Amendment is our last line of defense against tyranny, and she looked at me and honestly said, but why would the government want to take away our guns? Do they really, do you really believe that tyranny is the goal? And I honestly believe that there are so many Americans out there that just don't, they live in this little bubble and don't understand that, for example, the Second Amendment in our Bill of Rights is just critical. It is the last line of defense against tyranny, and we have history to prove that point. In the 20th century, 170 million people have been annihilated by their own governments after being disarmed. It is the most critical step to moving forward in that power and control of the people, and our founders knew that. They understood that because they had been through that. And so that's why the Second Amendment, I've been on the chat room on Trento Vision talking to people who are asking. I've been carrying on my own little show in the chat room.
All right, way to go.
She's coming down already.
I told them from Facebook and Tea Party community that I was going to be on today, and so they're all coming in and they're asking questions in the chat room. If you look back at it, you'll see a whole conversation there. But basically, that's what people are talking about. They're disbelieving that this much is already the number of the vast number of liberties that have already been stripped from Americans, and we've become desensitized to the trampling of our Constitution. And what we need to do is get back to looking at every piece of legislation before it's even put on the floor for a vote. It should have to pass constitutional muster. If it does not, then it shouldn't even be voted on. Then the American people wouldn't have to deal with what we're dealing with now, where we have rogue legislators just stripping us of one right after another. So that's where my position is. If we just get back to the constitutional foundation that this great nation was built upon, I think we'll be just fine.
Well, I don't know, Jan. Have you seen Shotgun Joe in the past couple of days?
He's on our side now.
Have you seen it?
Yes, I've seen Shotgun Joe.
Okay. No, not yet. If you've seen it, let me bring Annie on. We have Annie who wants to ask a question. Hi, Annie. You're with Tom and James and Mark and everybody else here, and Jan and Ken. How are you today, Ann? Oh, Ann.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
yeah, there you
can.
Go. Annie got her gun here.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead. You're with Jan and Ken.
Howdy.
What's your question, Annie?
Day of Resistance tomorrow?
Yes, it's a day of resistance, yes.
This is how we do it Texas style. We're going to be out in the thick of the woods. We're going to be blowing a bunch of stuff up. We're going to be partying. It's going to be a great day.
Okay. Well, that's wonderful. What else is going on in Texas?
Hey, look, we're just trying to keep our legislators doing what they're supposed to be doing. We're trying to back Senator Cruz. He's doing a great job. And, you know, we're really trying to make sure we maintain our rights. That's the biggest thing. You know, on a side note, too, I've got two friends, or actually one friend who's got two female friends of hers that are in some trouble. A family relative of hers married into Islam, and she has recently fled. They had moved temporarily to a Middle Eastern country, and after about 6 months or so, she realized that it wasn't really safe for her, and she has actually fled that country, and she is now out in the Middle East by herself, trying to get away.
Yeah.
And then we've got another female friend of hers who has been married for several years. They have several kids together, and it's the same situation, except she has not been able to get away from her husband yet. So,
well, here's what you do, Ann. I don't want to get into all that now, but send me an email, tom@trentovision.tv. As you know, maybe you don't know, and the audience may or may not know, we were very involved with the rescue operation of Rifka Barry.
Yes.
Very.
Yeah,
exactly.
back in 2009, the Muslim girl who converted to Christianity up in Columbus, Ohio, and had to leave her family for fear of an honor killing. Wound up in Orlando with a Christian pastor and his wife, and then we got involved as the Florida Security Council, and I was her one of her media spokespersons, and then as a result of that, we get a lot of requests for.
Yeah, well, you get a lot of requests for help about the Rifka Berry thing. We are deeply involved in the whole thing from beginning to end. And it's quite a fascinating story.
It's a great thing to bring up because, I mean, these ladies definitely, we need to try to find a way to get them some help, and there's more of them out there. I mean, they aren't the only two, obviously.
James, did you ever hear about the story?
I appreciate what you guys are doing. Why don't you give Tom some thoughts there?
And so, Jan, I got a question for you.
Yes.
You still there?
Yes, I'm still here, of course.
When you coming down?
The date, I'll be.
Or when you moving? When you moving? And Ken, when are you moving?
Where I'm going to end up. I'm going to be wherever the Tea Party needs me most.
Well, it's right here. I'm telling you right now.
We need you here. We need you here. We need you here. The beach needs you here. The beach needs you here. All right, Annie, thank you. Has Annie gone?
No, yes, she's.
All right, Annie's gone. There was something. Oh, listen to this. I want James, you, Ken, and Jan. We're going to go back 30 years, ladies and gentlemen. Almost queued up. All right, to the great philosopher of the 1980s, Dr. Phil Donahue. Do you remember Phil Donahue?
Oh yeah.
Well, he had a little run-in with this slouch called Milton Friedman over the issue of capitalism. Listen to this dialogue.
You think, excuse me, if you'll pardon me, do you think American presidents reward virtue? Do they choose their appointees on the basis of the virtue of the people appointed or on the basis of their political clout? Is it really true that political self-interest is nobler somehow than economic self-interest? You know, I think you're taking a lot of things for granted. And just tell me where in the world you find these angels who are going to organize society for us.
In Washington, D.C., that's where you find them. Unbelievable. I think that is a classic. Where do you find these angels? That's where this administration...
You know what it is?
Hang on. That's where this administration... It was rhetorical. But
their mind thought is that Star Trek mentality, where they think that there's these perfect people who run these perfect societies with dilithium crystals, unlimited fuel, doesn't cost anything in the world. We have our little holodecks. Everybody gets fed. You know, that's their world, their mindset.
No, I know. James, what are your thoughts? You're a businessman.
I'm just by that clip alone, I'm amazed. That is just, it's like you said, that Star Trek mentality. It's just, it's unrealistic. It's just not even fathomable.
It was Phil Donahue 30 years ago, but it's what's in Washington, D.C. right now. These guys are in charge of the asylum.
Yes.
Ken, your thoughts, and then Jan on that little dialogue between Phil Donahue and Milton Friedman.
Well, Tom, it's pretty simple for me. As simplistic and as stupid as this sounds, and I don't really think it's that stupid, but who has ever drawn a paycheck from a poor man? If you strip all the wealth from Warren Buffett and the Walton family and everybody else, Bill Gates and everybody, who is going to provide the jobs? Ultimately, that money's going to run out. And if you don't have capitalism and you don't have free enterprise and you don't have a free republic to do business in, there is no more money. And there's going to be no motivation to work. There's not going to be... It's ludicrous to think that it works. And in every country that's ever been communistic or Marxist or whatever, they've all failed. They've all failed ultimately. As a matter of fact, it was socialism and that mindset that a lot of historians agree that brought down the Roman Empire that had stood for 2,000 years. And it brought it down. And it'll bring America down, too. We cannot go there. We have to stop this freight train in the ground.
Been a colossal failure throughout history. That's a fact. There's no one who stands for socialism can dispute that fact. Now, one of the writers for my website came up with an interesting solution for business owners today who are suffering the consequences. And I thought this was really a cool idea. She says that business owners right now who are forced to lay off or fire employees due to Obama's anti-business policies, they need to fire those Obama voters first. And be sure to say to those folks who voted for Obama and his socialist policies and those policies that are destroying capitalism, be sure to say to them as they're going out the door, I wish you luck, and I hope you enjoy the fundamental transformation of your employment status. The bottom line is, why should we support people who do not support capitalism? Why should we employ people who vote to raise the cost of business owners, the cost of those business owners' families, as well as other employees, and forcing businesses to either close or downsize rather than expand and hire? Why should we have to employ people who essentially hate profit, who think that Obama should dictate what my fair share of profit is so that he can take the rest and redistribute as he sees fit? And why shouldn't I fire someone who voted against the company that employs them? So, I think elections have consequences, and I think that it is time for the people in this country who have voted for socialism to see and reap the consequences of their choice.
Well said, Jan Morgan. Well said. Mark and I did a video about a year ago or so, and in it we cited President Obama's father's thesis. He wrote a thesis for, I think it was for Kenya. He was an economist, and he worked for Kenya, and he had the perfect tax rate. What do you think his perfect tax rate? President Obama's father, Barack Obama the first. laid out this thesis for how the government and citizens should function, and he said the tax rate for citizens should be a number X. What do you think the number was?
No idea.
50%, 60%.
The number that our president's father wrote on a document, and we have the document, was the tax rate should be for all citizens 100%. 100%. And this was not, he wasn't writing for Saturday Night Live. He is a Marxist, basically, and he felt that everything, all the money people makes goes right to the government. Then the government provides food, shelter, and clothing. And that's the way the system should work. And that's the way he tried to implement his political philosophy. And if you remember, our president wrote a book that was not Dreams of My Father, Dreams from My Father. That he was truly living out the dreams from his father, and his goal as a neo-colonialist, anti-neo-colonialist, was to implement his father's philosophy. But for our tripart system, but for the checks and balances, but for all of us, the Tea Party and everybody screaming and yelling, President Obama would move as closely to his father's optimum goal of 100% that he possibly could. Oh, we got a lot of work to do.
Obama has never been secretive about his support of redistribution of the wealth. What I don't understand is why the American people refuse to see that aspect of what he stands on and believes in, redistribution of the wealth, is straight from Chapter 2 of the Communist Manifesto. That you can't argue that. Go look it up. Those aren't my thoughts, my words. Those are straight from the Communist Manifesto, and he supports that and believes in that system. So, what does that say about this president, and what does it say about the people who support him and believe that his way is the best way for this country?
Well, let me ask Ken Crow. Do you, in your manifesto or your mission statement for the Tea Party, do you address taxation by any means?
I believe we do.
Yes.
I believe it should be fair across the board. Read down there. I do not have it in front of me.
Pledge, I'll read it.
Remember that it's to prevent the Constitution, and we support preventing excessive taxation on any corporation or any person.
There you go.
It's ridiculous. You cannot tax yourself into prosperity. It has never been done in the history of the world. Maybe temporarily for a year or something, but after that it comes crashing down. It does not work.
No, and you've covered quite a bit in the mission statement. You do talk about limiting the excessive taxation, so that's covered. And if anybody wants a copy of this, I guess it's on Tea Party Community. Has it been posted yet?
Yes, sir. I believe it's supposed to be posted this afternoon.
Okay.
Sometime. Tim Sr. was going to have it posted.
All right,
I'll be posting it, Tom, on my wall, and I'll be writing an article about the Tea Party Community Network, and I will include in that article on janmorganmedia.com the entire mission statement so that everybody can see it. And of course, then everybody will obviously want to move over to and join that network.
And everybody can. Yes.
I want to circle back around right quick and cover something that Annie called in about a few minutes ago, if I might.
Sure,
just
of course.
like 30 seconds.
Sure. We're commercial free. We're commercial free here, thanks to the donors. We're commercial free. Go ahead.
Okay. She mentioned Senator Ted Cruz from Texas. And for those of you that don't know, I would like to tell you the quick story behind Senator Cruz. Senator Cruz was basically, I'm not going to say he was a no-name in Texas, but he was certainly not a prominent political powerhouse in the state of Texas. And what happened in Texas was they had a primary down there with Craig James, the ESPN sportscaster, was running for the Senate, football hero in the state of Texas, and the lieutenant governor, and they had this huge pile of candidates last year running for the U.S. Senate. Ted Cruz, because of his philosophy and his conservatism, won the hearts of the Tea Party in Texas. He managed to, with the help of the Tea Party, came to his aid, donated to his campaign, became his ground force in Texas, and he managed to win a runoff against the lieutenant governor. Now, the lieutenant governor had an unlimited bank account. This man is what one would refer to as super rich. He's worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and he was bankrolling his own account. And long story short, Katrina Pearson from the Dallas Tea Party teamed up with a Tea Party social media expert in the state of Texas. The lieutenant governor had the support of the governor, had unlimited bankrolling capabilities, and the support of Karl Rove and everybody else in the mainstream Republican establishment. This fellow named Ted Cruz, through the ground troops, and because all of the Tea Parties came together in the state of Texas, they took out a moderate, super rich lieutenant governor and installed a Tea Party U.S. Senator who is now carrying the banner on Capitol Hill in the U.S. Senate for the Tea Party. And I want to tell America that is the power of unification.
Yes, it is. That's very cool.
Tea Party leader in Texas jumped on the bandwagon, brought everybody together. They got everybody under one roof, and they took out the political machine in the state of Texas and put a U.S. Senator in that's a Tea Party candidate.
That is a fabulous success story and very motivational for all the people listening and watching on TeaPartyCommunity.com, TrentoVision.tv, WNN 1470. Fabulous story, great story. We make sure everyone, when you get done watching the show, listening to the show, go over to TeaPartyCommunity.com. Actually, you can go there now because the show plays on the homepage of TeaPartyCommunity.com every single day. Wonderful story. We need to repeat that about 50 times, 100 times, and then I mean, that's how close we are to recapturing the essence of what the guy who's 281 years old as of today, Mr. Washington, that's what we need to do. We only need about 100 people in Congress to straighten things out. We're close in some states. And it's very exciting. I mean, all of us went into depression on November 6th. I remember I took CJ and Mark, and we found out at 9 o'clock, one of our friends who was running for the U.S. Congress was told by the Republican Party at 9 o'clock that we lost. So he pulled us aside and said, we lost. So Mark and I and CJ went out. We were at a hotel. I said, okay, we can cry for an hour. And then we're back in the fight, and that's what we did. But some of my friends are still in a daze, but there's no reason to be. This is a phenomenal country. The bad guys are in control of it. We can take it back. Got to get up. Got to work. Got to organize. They out-organized us. We need to out-organize them. We're starting to push the clock here. Ken, some concluding thoughts on your part. Then we'll go to Jan, and then James, a thought or two on your part. So, Ken, what would you like to say to the folks as we wind down, particularly in light of what the community is going to be doing in the future?
Well, I would like to say, Tom, and first of all, I want to thank you for your wonderful patriotism and your wonderful show. And I want to thank and say it's an honor to know all of your staff. You have a great crew. They're true patriots. They're hard workers, and they're just wonderful people. And I hope everybody gets to meet CJ and Mark and the rest of the gang and you someday. My closing thoughts are this. America, we can do this. We simply have to come together. Our freedom was put together, bought and paid for by a handful of men in tattered clothing and muskets back in the 1770s. Today we have internet, we have Twitter, we have mass communication, and we have devotion, and we have people with the same mindset. We did it before. It's not as dire this time. We don't have a king pounding us over the head, but we do have some rather unscrupulous people leading us, and it needs to stop. We can win this. We have righteousness on our side, and we have a wonderful team put together, and with the help of great patriots like Jan Morgan and James and Richardson that's there with you today, and the Saletti family and everybody else involved in this. We can do it, we can win, and we will win. I promise you, and I give you my word on that.
We've not yet begun the fight.
Amen, amen. Jan, your thoughts.
Stuff.
I just wanted to leave everybody with this. We've been talking about the problems in this country now for years. We did not get to the stage that we are in now overnight. It did not happen just because the American citizens elected, supposedly, Barack Obama president for 2 terms now. We're beginning the second term. It didn't happen overnight. We're not going to fix it overnight. It's going to take time. It's going to take vigilance, and people don't need to get discouraged simply because we've lost this election. We do have a lot to undo. For too long, conservatives have remained silent. We've been the silent majority, and we have got to start standing up, speaking out, and fighting back. That means getting active, not just talking about it, but actually getting involved. And the Tea Party community with the state hubs are great. It's a great place for people to go to join with their state hub, and then find out what's going on in your state and in your cities, and then show up. Be there when they're calling for action alerts, and do something. Actually put some teeth behind it. That's what it's going to take. We can do it, just like Ken said, but we're going to have to keep fighting and not give up.
Amen. James, we got a couple of minutes left. Thank you for being here. You were over there, but we dragged in and said,
and CJ, sorry they put me in your chair. Yeah, thanks.
You're getting involved with the Tea Party. You're a businessman. You're a Roll Tide guy. Are you a Roll Tide guy?
I bleed a dark shade of crimson red.
Oh, okay. Uh-oh.
I'm a Gator. I'm sorry.
I was at that.
I'll still like it. It's okay.
I was at that Sugar Bowl game, Miami and Alabama,
right?
93 or whenever it was. I don't like you.
Thanks,
don't like you. Okay.
With your background in training, that's a little terrifying to get out of your studio at this point.
But we'll let you have a concluding thought here.
All right, thanks, Tom. My concluding thought would simply be it's truly an honor to be able to associate myself with people like Ken Crow, Jan Morgan, Tom Torrento, all of Tom's staff here. I've gotten the entire afternoon up here in the studio, and everyone up here is just exemplary. The people that are associated with the Tea Party that I've come in contact with on any level are just a different. It's just a different mindset than what I'm used to dealing with the basic social media, with the different mentalities of Facebook and just the world in general. Is just the world just seems to have gone to hell in a handbasket, but there still is those of us out here that are willing to fight the fight and make the difference by any means possible, as I stated before. And it takes any means. It takes, giving until it hurts, doing what's right for each other, remembering back when, the days of, we cared about our neighbors. We didn't fight a war against, poor people, but we did against poverty. When we were together as a country in full, and we were in so many ways like-minded, and we're so scattered, and that's what it's just simply got to be corrected for us to take what's been taken away from us. And I truly believe that we are on our way now.
Amen.
Well said.
Appreciate it. Yes, well said. And you have you been on the radio in the past?
This would be a first. Yes, sir.
I told him you had a natural radio voice.
Somebody just threw some weird sound in, and it didn't throw you at all. You just kept going, and you went on and
focused.
I don't know what that sound was, but you got a little talent there. Yeah, you got talent for sure. You're a natural. All right. In any event, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to take a break for this hour. We'll be back one more hour. We're going to say goodbye to Jan and Ken and James, and the old crew will be back in here. We're going to go into the sequestration of this president, the castration of this, the sequestration, whatever it is, whatever that thing is, that's what we're going to talk about in a few minutes. We'll be right back.
Thanks for tuning into Trento Vision, where bad ideas get pulverized and the truth will set you free. Tom Trento can be reached at 561-319-5533 or Tom at TrentoVision.tv. And tune in again weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on AM 1470 WNN. The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors. The bond between a child and a horse is special. When that child is physically or mentally challenged, the results are magical. Horses and the Handicapped of South Florida has been providing equine-assisted therapy to hundreds of children, the majority of which could never afford this highly beneficial therapy on their own. It's a great cause, and here's a great way to help. Grab your boots and join us on Friday, March 1st at 7 p.m. at Ron Bergeron's Green Glades Ranch in Weston for the 3rd annual Wild West Night. This fun and exciting evening will feature great food and drink. Try an alligator Ron, live music with the Barron Sisters and the Andrews Morris Band. A live and silent auction featuring a Taylor Swift autographed guitar, live writing demonstrations, and much, much more. It's all to celebrate the legacy of Megan Morency. And all the proceeds go to Horses and the Handicapped. Wild Wild West Night, Friday, March 1st. For tickets, visit hhsfl.org. That's hhsfl.org.
AM 1470 with even more information you can use. Are you suffering with chronic pain? Tune in for No Bones About It with Dr. Alvin Stein. You'll learn non-invasive techniques that can help you get rid of your pain without the use of harmful drugs or surgery. That's No Bones About It with Dr. Alvin Stein. Tuesday mornings at 11, right here on AM 1470 WNN, South Florida's Health and Wealth Network.
My name is Tom Thornton.
And my name is Cindy Thornton. We've been married 38 years, we're retired, and this is how we live united.
We play golf and we travel, but we also decided we were going to give to and volunteer with United Way at our community free health clinic.
I do the nursing at the clinic.
I work the front office, checking in patients, greeting them, making them feel comfortable.
United Way is how we contribute, because we know our time and money are going to the right places, the places that need it most and implement it best.
Judging by the thank yous we get at the clinic, I'd say we're doing the right thing with our retirement too.
We even get a few bless yous. It's incredible.
We're Tom and Cindy Thornton. We volunteer at our community free health clinic, so we don't just wear the shirt.
We live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
This neighborhood sure has changed in my lifetime. You know, there was a time when people like me couldn't live here because of their race or the color of their skin. I'll never forget how I felt being told I wasn't welcome in this neighborhood, that this apartment was for whites only. That got better over time, but some people still didn't get equal treatment when it came to finding a home. Well, I own this building now. The Fair Housing Act made a difference for someone like me. It gives us the opportunity to live in communities of our choice, free from discrimination. The Fair Housing Act makes it illegal to discriminate in the renting or selling of a home because of race, color, religion, sex, national origin, familial status, or disability.
If you believe you have experienced housing discrimination, contact HUD at 1-800-669-9777 or go to www.hud.gov/fairhousing.
This is Health and Wealth Radio, AM 1470, WWNN Pompano Beach, and WKIS HD3, Boca Raton, Miami, Fort Lauderdale. AM 1470, WNN. Listen live at WWNNradio.com and like us on Facebook. Search AM 1470, WWNN.
against the cyclist. The lawsuit alleges the former Tour de France champion concealed his use of performance-enhancing drugs for over a decade and defrauded his longtime sponsor, the United States Postal Service. The suit the Justice Department is joining was filed in 2010 by former teammate Floyd Landis, who was stripped of his 2006 Tour de France title for doping. He's out on bail, but Oscar Pistorius isn't allowed to return to his home where he shot and killed his girlfriend 9 days ago. That's one of the conditions of the $113,000 bail that was set by a magistrate today in Pretoria, South Africa. This is IRN USA Radio News.
I will never forget the day my son Jeremy told me he hated me and slammed the door in my face. I'm behavioral therapist Janet Lehman. Behavior problems can turn the child you love and your life into a nightmare. That's why my husband James and I created the Total Transformation, the step-by-step program that shows you how to fix the worst behavior problems and get your child to respect and listen to you again. No matter what the behavior, defiance, backtalk, angry outbursts, disrespect, we can help you stop it. Now you can get the Total Transformation for free. All you need to do is get the program and let us know how it works for you. You can keep it forever for free.
Limited number of free programs available. Call now. 1-800-893-4392. 1-800-893-4392. That's 1-800-893-4392. 1-800-893-4392.
New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg has vetoed a jobless discrimination bill. Here's Warren Levinson.
Bloomberg vetoed what would have been the most aggressive law in the country to ban discrimination against unemployed job seekers. Speaker Christine Quinn says the city council will attempt to override the veto. The bill passed the council by a vote of 44-4 last month. It would permit job seekers to sue. Supporters say, given the high joblessness rate, it's unfair to hold unemployment against a job seeker. Bloomberg says it's rational for an employer to want to know what an applicant has been doing, and he says the bill would tie employers up in a lot of frivolous lawsuits. Warren Levinson, New York.
Transportation Secretary Ray LaHood says automatic spending cuts scheduled to take effect March 1st would mean travel delays at major airports. He says air traffic would be disrupted by shutting down control towers at smaller facilities. LaHood says the automatic cuts would trim $600 million from the Federal Aviation Administration this year. For the latest news and analysis, log on to IRNUSAnews.com.
If your hair loss is as recent as 8 to 12 years, a high percentage of your follicles may still be alive. Kevis's new patented breakthrough restores the health of your hair. Imagine over 50% back naturally. Call now and receive a free 1-month supply. No commitments or strings attached. Call 800-245-HAIR. That's 800-245-HAIR. 800-245-HAIR, or go to iwantmyhair.com.
A spokesman for Russian President Vladimir Putin is urging Russian officials to temper emotions over the death of a Russian boy who was adopted by an American family. The statement came after the U.S. ambassador urged Russian authorities and the media to stop what the ambassador called, quote, their sensational exploitations of the case. Medical examiners in West Texas have not officially pronounced the cause of last month's death of a 3-year-old, but the report of bruises on the boy's body prompted some Russians to jump to conclusions. A New Hampshire legislative committee has taken testimony on a measure that would allow school employees to carry guns inside school buildings in the wake of the Sandy Hook school massacre.
The supporters basically are the gun rights advocates who said, parents should have the right to say locally.
Some parents are calling for teachers to be armed in schools. The teachers, for the most part, are opposed to legislation that would allow guns in schools.
Unions, the teachers, the American Federation of Teachers, NEA New Hampshire, came out opposed. They said the chances of a child being hit by a teacher or another staff member who didn't have the same training as a police officer was too high.
2 people are dead after the crash of a medical helicopter early today in Oklahoma City. Authorities tell the Oklahoma newspaper that the chopper went down near a nursing home. Forecasters say skies were clear and the temperature was around 20 degrees at the time of the crash. With IRN.
Here's some great news from Tom Trento, host of the daily WNN Trento Vision Show. Due to the unparalleled success of the Trento Vision Show, you now have an amazing opportunity to advertise on the Trento Vision Show. If you want more information about this excellent opportunity for your business, please contact Tom Trento at 561-319-5533, or you can email him, tom@trentovision.tv. The bond between a child and a horse is special. When that child is physically or mentally challenged, the results are magical. Horses and the Handicapped of South Florida has been providing equine-assisted therapy to hundreds of children, the majority of which could never afford this highly beneficial therapy on their own. It's a great cause, and here's a great way to help. Grab your boots and join us on Friday, March 1st at 7 p.m. at Ron Bergeron's Green Glades Ranch in Weston for the 3rd annual Wild West Night. This fun and exciting evening will feature great food and drink. Try an alligator Ron, live music with the Barron Sisters and the Andrews Morris Band. A live and silent auction featuring a Taylor Swift autographed guitar, live writing demonstrations, and much, much more. It's all to celebrate the legacy of Megan Morency. And all the proceeds go to Horses and the Handicapped. Wild Wild West Night, Friday, March 1st. For tickets, visit hhsfl.org. That's hhsfl.org. The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors. Welcome to Trentovision, where bad ideas get pulverized and the truth will set you free. Trentovision is hosted by Tom Trento. Tom can be reached at 561-319-5533 or tom@trentovision.tv. Listen and watch every weekday from 3 to 6 p.m. on AM 1470 WNN and trentovision.tv. Now, let's get a peek at Tom's view of the world. Here's Tom Trento.
Okay, we're back. Tom Trento at 5:07, 7 minutes after 5 o'clock. We're almost back, but
I can come in the
morning. We need to be on the air when everything starts. We're on the radio side, the rock solid WNN 1470 never fails, but the minions around here sometimes slip.
The henchmen.
And, the henchmen were busy talking. We're talking, but we will be.
I like the henchmen.
We will be. There's no show. The people are already writing in and calling in. Here we go. We will be on, you heard the spot just before we came on. We will be on March, what is the date again? March 1st. 7 o'clock. We will be at, grab your boots and join us at Ron Bergeron's Green Glades Ranch for the fundraiser, Horses and the Handicapped, in memory of Megan Morency. Megan Morency Memorial Event. We will be there and love to meet all of you, Tom Trento and our whole minion crew here, or thugs, minions, and then henchmen. We will be there.
Minion,
and it's going to be a great evening for...
we have 10 men of bar mitzvah age.
A wonderful
coming
cause.
to the party.
and if you know the... if you've heard us speak here, the general manager of the station is Bob Morency, and this is in honor of his daughter. And you'll hear that story on March 7th, Friday evening at 7 o'clock out in Weston. So join us there. Also, we have another request for our listeners and viewers. We fight the bad guys here. We fight the jihadis. We fight the president. But we like to help people when we can. And someone in the area is in need. An elderly woman is in need of furniture. She actually called the station to see if anybody could help out. And if you have any furniture of any sort.
Did she specify what kind?
No, I think Joe is handling the details. If you have any furniture you do not need, I'll tell you what, you can call the station, 888-565-1470, and Kenny will answer and take your name, and Joe, the engineer, will get all the information for you and kind of do the logistics. But an elderly woman in the area needs some furniture, so if we can help her out with that. If you got something lying around, if you have a 75-inch HD flat screen, put a little label on that for Tom, for the studio, for the Trento Vision studio. We'll take that off your hands.
The bunker.
Becky doesn't need that. She's not going to watch TV. She goes to bed at 6 o'clock. But an old soft couch or chair or something like that. What do old people furniture? What would an old person? She's in her 80s.
Recliner.
A recliner, right? That'd be good. What else?
We got sofa, love seats, and stuff like
Love
that.
seat. Yeah. Waterbed? No, probably not. Can't get out of it.
No, not a waterbed.
Did you ever have a waterbed?
Yes, I did.
I'm shocked.
I never got into a waterbed.
Actually, I had one with all the little, so it was just like the flat waterbeds. You're like on an ocean, but you get the good waterbeds. They're actually pretty cool.
With the baffles in it, you mean?
Yeah. Those are actually really comfortable.
Because the other ones, you go like this. The two sides go up and down. Did you have a waterbed?
No.
No?
No, but
Did
I
you
have
ever-
slept on them.
You have?
Yes.
You want to tell us about that?
No, not really. Maybe after work.
Yeah, maybe we
after
can pursue this. Do you want to know the story of CJ sleeping in a waterbed? If you do,
all it will cost you
Give
is
us a
2
call.
glasses of wine.
yes, give us a call. Did you ever sleep in a waterbed?
I've slept in one, yes.
You actually had one as a kid.
Yeah, I loved it. I
he
loved
did.
it. I actually did love it.
Yeah. No, I never really. It was just always thought, okay, if this thing breaks and I sink in it, I'm going to drown while I'm sleeping.
No, they have individual baffles on them and everything like that. I mean, you could jump up and down with high heels.
I never made the psychological transition to a waterbed. So no
It was
waterbeds for
It
Becky.
was a very big fad back in the 80s.
Big fad. I ran a Christian activism organization, and one of our key donors owned, I think it was Waterbed City or Big Sur Waterbeds. No, this is in Denver, Colorado. He was a guy who liked the waterbed when they first came out, and he made a few, and he sold them to his friends. And then he had a gigantic factory, and he had a huge company. And then they diversified into all kinds of different things.
Right.
But,
and he's one of your top donors now,
He was.
right?
I haven't seen him in 100 years.
Yeah.
But he was back
Why
then.
don't you find him,
I got to
Tom?
find him.
Yeah.
I got to remember his name. So March 7th at
March
1st at 7 o'clock out at Ron Bergeron's ranch.
Yeah.
We'll be there, and we need horses.
A little bit late.
We need horses for Becky.
A little bit late.
We need horses for Becky or something. Or furniture for Becky. That's right. No horses for Becky.
Okay, we have some callers on the line holding. If you
Well,
wanna...
that was fun. Yeah, that was fun with Ken and Jan. They're great people.
Yep.
And James, our new local activist.
Yeah.
Good guy.
We need to have him come by too.
Yeah, a lot of things going on. I got a bunch of stuff here, but let's take a couple of calls, and then we'll go through the insanity that I have for us.
Okay, yeah, let's do the Friday afternoon cleanup if
Yes,
we can.
activism.
All right. First up, we have Paul on the line.
Hello, Paul. You're with the crew.
Hey, hello.
How you doing?
How you doing, Paul?
Where are you calling?
I'm doing good.
Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Baltimore, Maryland.
Baltimore. Okay, great crab houses there. Let me tell you, great seafood in
Yeah,
Baltimore.
with the Ravens. How you like that?
Yeah, not
Super
bad,
Bowl
not
champions
bad.
now,
Yeah,
too.
we'll give you a hand. Give you a hand for the Ravens.
Yeah. Yeah. My concern is I like Jen, and I am a Special Force Marine. I served 8 years. And I stand behind Jen with this.
Yeah, you got to turn your radio down, and
sorry.
it'll work a little better. No problem.
There you go. My computer was up. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem. I do it all the time.
I was a Marine for 8 years, and I was a Special Force over in Iraq. And I kind of agree with what you said. I don't agree with this Obama gun care stuff. And, I agree with the Second Amendment. We have a right to bear arms. And they're taking it all out of context because the content is we have a right to bear arms. And the thing is, if they take it away, and I agree that, one day somebody's going to come into your house and you ain't going to have the right ammunition to take over, and they're going to take you out. And, I kind of agree with what Jen says, hey, be prepared at all times. And I know that when I signed the paper, when I got installed in the military, it says protect against foreign and domestic violence and stand against your neighbor as yourself. You're not going to leave your neighbor in the hole. And, my thing is I am a full concerned patriot. And,
Well, this is pretty good. I mean, it's very clear that you love this country. You're concerned about the gun situation. And my experience with my friends who get gun licenses and all of that, I'd say 98% of the people that I know that got a firearms, particularly even if they've been through the military or law enforcement training, or just a concealed weapons permit, they become more responsible. They don't become crazier like now they got something that can hurt people. They go, oh my God, I got this little tool, this little thing that can do a lot of damage. I have to be very careful in my life and what I do, because the lethality of the individual increases. So that's been my experience. So I hate even thinking about a showdown between the United States government and citizens. I mean, that almost doesn't even compute in my head, because there's so much we can do before we ever got to that kind of point. But hey, thanks for calling. Appreciate it. Jan's a great woman,
and also
for sure.
On his point, real quick is
just hope we don't get into a revolution.
Right.
Yeah, at the ballot box. That's where the revolution ought to take place.
And what I see very encouragement is all the local sheriffs around the country. They have all been saying, we're not going to, I don't care what type of gun rights, if they tell us to go into the homes and take away people's guns, we're not going to do it. And the local sheriffs are going to, are the cornerstone to that. And, and then if it even comes down to the military doing some crazy stuff like that, you still have, most of the military is still so pro-gun rights for the citizens that you would have such a revolution on your hands inside the military. It would have to be this country be in complete upheaval or something like that.
All hell would break loose. We really got to do everything in the world to keep from. We're run by the rule of law. That's the distinctive of the United States over all the other 195 countries. So we cannot abandon that. We have to use the system to maintain the rule of law. Otherwise.
Well, that only works if the laws are just.
Otherwise, if you've ever been around someone who's fired a gun, just imagine, a bunch of guns shooting all over the place. I mean, it's insanity. It's complete insanity.
I've been shot 3 times, so I know that.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, thanks for calling, Paul. Appreciate it.
Thank you for calling. Have a good weekend,
Anybody
Paul.
else floating around
Yep,
there?
we have Alan on the line.
Hi, Alan. You're with Tom and CJ and the boys.
Hey, this is Alan. How are you all?
Hello.
Hi, Alan.
I recognize this Alan.
We know this Alan.
How are you?
How are you all doing today?
Well, I'm fighting a cough, and I have a great elixir. That is helping. I may have found a new way to do the talk show here.
Yeah, Robitussin, right?
Robitussin XL.
XL.
Rodney Tussin.
Yeah.
Rodney Strongatussin. Alan, this is Alan Kornman, the United West director, regional director in Orlando. And we have a fabulous story for the world that we'll tell when? Next week, Alan?
Yes, it's evolving as we speak. But we actually should be very interesting, involving the Orlando Sentinel and bias within the media. Should be very, very interesting.
Really? There's bias in the media?
Surprise, surprise.
Well, we're not going to get into that story today, but I'm just going to read from February 21st, the My Word section of the Orlando Sentinel, which is part of the Tribune Company, Los Angeles Times, the Chicago Tribune, the Sun Sentinel, the Orlando Sentinel. On the 21st, Atif Farid. Guess what religion? Anybody?
The religion of peace.
Religion of peace, right? Zoroastrian.
Atif Farid wrote a opinion piece in the My Word section talking about the meaningless bill that caters to Islamophobes.
The meaningless bill that caters to Islamophobes.
American laws for American courts has yesterday passed the second committee on the House side and is zooming over to the Senate side. So Atif Farid, the religion of peace, wrote an article that said this is a ridiculous law. This bill...
And we oppose it.
It targets Muslims, Sharia law. It would impact religious tribunals, Jews, bet dens for Jews, canon law for observant Catholics, all the typical stuff.
And the druids and the trees.
Yeah,
and
he goes through all the typical stuff. And he says it's time for elected leadership to concentrate on making Florida a better place, not waste tax dollars by passing obsolete, meaningless laws that serve to please a few diehard Islamophobes. Us. Right? Us. Well, someone we know wrote a response to this to the Orlando Sentinel. And that person may be on the phone.
He may be.
And
He
he got
is. He is. I am. I'm here.
he got such a royal screw job by the Orlando Sentinel that it may be a bigger story than if he would have wrote this little piece that, you know, a couple of people would have read. Right. So since I read the last piece, were there any other developments?
There were none. They decided what they wanted to do as far as with the ending, where my name would be mentioned, the United West. They felt the need to put on there that the United West is against Sharia. However, which in some aspects is true if you go to our website, but in regards to this bill, the American Laws for American Courts, or the application of foreign law in certain cases, which is going through the Florida House and Senate as we speak, the Orlando Sentinel felt the need to add that in, even though this bill does not mention the word Sharia at all. This bill has nothing to do with Sharia. This bill is about equal protection and due process under the law for family court matters. And that is the narrow scope of this bill. Yet Mr. Atif Fareed is making this all about Sharia, and the Orlando Sentinel had the unbelievable audacity to print in their paper, they called that anyone who disagrees with this bill is vile epithets, Islamophobes, bigots, etc. And they printed that with no compunction at all for fact or innuendo or using the print of the Orlando Sentinel to demonize an entire group of people for no reason other than disagreeing with this man. And then when I came in and wrote a rebuttal piece, and my main point is very simple. This bill has nothing to do with Sharia. It is not even listed in the bill, in the wordage at all. What this does is this protects due process, and it tells the courts how to deal with foreign laws when they come, how to deal with them when they come into the court, which right now there's currently not a standard. Well, the Orlando Sentinel decided that they needed to make this about Sharia law in my piece, even though I did everything possible to say, no, this bill is not about Sharia. They had to tie it in using their own words, and they threatened and they said, well, if you don't put in that your group is against Sharia law, then we will not print your story. And this is after they called up and said, okay, we'll run it today, which is supposed to go in today. Then they pushed it to Monday. And then they were a bully, and they were bullying me into saying, well, if you don't do what we want to do, we are not going to print your story, even though it's 100% factual.
No, and I read the emails, and we'll expose this. CJ has a question, but we'll expose it because Atif Fareed happens to be a jihadi that is so mobbed up with Badir and CARE and all these different groups. But no, nothing.
That was my point, is the Orlando Sentinel just took the talking points from the CARE statement against American Laws for American Courts and just said, therefore, we'll adopt what CARE says, and we ourselves in the media will accuse anybody who supports this law, American Laws for American Courts. We'll just label them an Islamophobe right off the CARE press release.
Well, I mean, by their own admission, by coming out and saying this is anti-Sharia, I mean, they're saying American law. Think about this: American laws for American courts are anti-Sharia.
Well, yeah, I would hope so.
But it's just like, okay, aren't you actually proving our point that Sharia law is anti-American? I mean, by their own words.
Right now, I bet you the listeners are probably scratching their head going, Holy cow, this is complicated, but it's really not. So let me give an example that'll this will make it easy to understand. Because, for example, let's say that a couple moves to the United States from another country where that country's laws allow the man full custody of the children without visitation rights, a non-equal distribution of family assets to the wife. So this couple comes from a country, every country's not like America, Tom. Freedom and liberty is a rare commodity around the world. Okay. And bring us, you're tired, you're hungry, you're poor, we are a big melting pot. That's what makes America great. We're a big melting pot, so we get people coming in from all over. And the idea is that when you come over to our country, you adopt our culture, our custom, and our laws. And where you came from, those become secondary. Well, in some countries, it is the man controls everything. He gets full custody of the children, no visitation rights for the mom, and no equal distribution of family assets. Here in America, we have a court, a family court, where a woman can go and contest if the husband tries to do that. And that's what HB 351. It instructs the court that the wife is entitled to her day in court under American law, not the laws of some foreign land like China, North Korea, Venezuela. And that's what's called due process. Due process is where you're allowed to have your day in court. That is your right as an American citizen. And then on the flip side, if the woman is happy with her previous arrangement under what she contracted with back in the old country, no problem. Nothing changes. They can honor that contract. And that is what this whole bill is about. And people like Atif Farid are trying to make it all about Sharia, and they are winning the argument because the media is taking up that wrong narrative.
Yeah, and I think it's 4 states so far have passed the American Law for American Courts legislation.
So why is there a need for American laws for American courts?
No, that's a good question.
If Article 6 of the Constitution says,
it ought to even go without saying. But then you have people on our own Supreme Court who think that we should look to other countries to influence our own Supreme Court's decisions.
All right, let's do this. We weren't going to do this now. Alan called for another reason, but we're no.
Okay. Okay, sorry.
No. I mean, it's Alan got into it more than, which is fine because I'm looking at the clock now.
I'm sorry, I thought we were going there.
No. Remember, it was Hezbollah. We're going to do Hezbollah. Oh,
right.
Oh, that's right. We'll do Hezbollah. He wrote a great piece and did a video on this. Well, both of these fit with the Tea Party quite well. But he did a piece on Hezbollah's activities. Where do you think?
Where? Yeah.
Mexico
and Venezuela.
And very critically important piece. So we'll do that piece next week. Let's camp on this for a few more minutes, and then I want to get into some of the sequestration sequestration items. Mark asked a great question. I mean, the United States Constitution says only American law, and you hear all the Muslim leaders when ALAC, American Law for American Courts, comes along saying, we love the Constitution, let's just rely on the Constitution, we don't need this. How do you answer that, Mr. Kornman, you Islamophobe?
Well, there's a thing called comedy, not comedy, even though this can be very funny. It's COMITY. And what this bill, HB 351, which, by the way, every one of your listeners need to call or email or tweet your representative and tell them to support HB 351. Now, this
that's the kind of stuff we need on our website.
Yep, what that does is this bill will tell the court how they're supposed to respond and what they're supposed to do if a foreign law is introduced into the court. And that is all that this bill does. And there's really not a process. It's almost kind of a gray area. So this bill is really needed, and it'll address this legal comedy to assure everyone is entitled to their legal due process.
Is it more of a federal versus a state issue, where the federal government has the Article 6, but the states really don't have those type of laws in their constitutions? Is that the basic essence of it, Alan?
Yeah, that's a great point, because it's primarily a state issue, because federal laws and treaties aren't even in the scope of this bill. This is more of a state law in order to guide state courts into how to deal with this issue when foreign laws are introduced into the court or family matters in that narrow scope.
So using your example, that they come into a divorce court, and well, first of all, they have a divorce under whatever it is, Indian law, Sharia law, whatever law is, okay? And they say, all right, she has absolutely no rights to see the children or anything. What this does is gives the woman the right to have custody under American laws, be adjudicated by judges under American jurisprudential matters versus whatever customary law is from other countries. That's
exactly. It gives the woman the right to take her case to court, an American court, and then petition the court for whatever redress of grievances that she may have, rather than whatever is in this Chinese, North Korean, Venezuela court.
Well, this also extends.
You're here in America. When in Rome, you do as the Romans do. And if you know that you are moving to America and become a citizen, then you have the responsibility to change whatever contracts you may have had over in the old country and then readjust them for America.
Well, and one final point, this goes beyond the scope of just family law. It also, since America has the strongest rights for women in the world, it really empowers women in all these societies who have been...
Well, yeah, that is such a key point, because if you're a liberal for women's rights, you should be so for this thing, ALAC,
Yeah.
but they're not, because they're stupid, they're idiots. The left are idiots. They make believe they're for women's rights. They're really not.
They're not. Right.
No, they're not.
They're not.
Because many of these...
women are getting dragged into what is the equivalent
marriages
of
or whatever.
tribal courts
Exactly.
here in the United States.
Misogynistic
And
misogynistic cultures where the men prevail, and a lot of it is Islamic countries, of course, but it's other countries too. So just dig this for a while. This little, frightened feminine lady comes, she gets divorced, and she's frightened to even fight at the lowest level, a municipal level, county level, and if there is no county or state, if there's state protection, it goes down to the county. Right. So she can fight at the entry level of the court system and prevail. But if ALAC is not there in a state level, she's got to go through the municipal level, appeal to a regional level. If she moves it into federal court, go to a federal appeals court, then get to the U.S. Supreme Court. She's going to fight that battle? Are you kidding me?
Exactly.
So we need this law to protect women from third world countries that have BS rules for families. It's that simple.
yeah, that's it. That's what I meant by tribal.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
It. Well stated.
Good stuff, Alan. So we'll tell the rest of the story next week when we do a little more investigation into Atif Jihad Fareed. And at Trento Vision, when we're in our bunker, we'll try to get Mr. Fareed on the line as a guest.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll come on. They always do.
They usually do.
They usually do.
Enough. If not, we'll get
Thank you very much for having me on.
MD.
And let the sequestration happen.
All right.
Thank
The
you, Alan. We'll
sequestration.
talk to you next week.
If we can't
All right, have a good weekend. Keep up the good work, guys.
Thank you. If
and gals.
if we can't get Atif Fareed, we'll just, as a fallback, we'll just go. Our go-to guy will be MD Rabbi Alam. We'll just bring him in for everything.
What's happening to him? I thought he was supposed to call back in.
Oh no, we have to reach out to him.
Oh, okay.
He's ready.
How's about our friend? What was her name? Saba.
Oh, Saba. She
Saba,
listens.
the one who talks about the reverts.
Yeah,
that was pretty slick. I think we should call AQ Al-Razuli.
Yeah, call it. We got so many good people, but we also have bumbling people that are liberal, and some of them are named Bob.
Is Bob on the line?
Oh, Bob. Is Bob on the line? I don't know.
Yes.
Let's see who we have on the line.
Bob is on the line.
Oh, is it?
Oh, we're
Bob?
just ripping you, Bob.
Okay.
Don't take it personally.
Happy Friday, Bob. Happy Friday.
Hi, Bob.
How are you, my dear?
Okay. Do you know, I don't know if you remember this or not, but back in the 80s, there used to be a drinking game when people would watch the reruns of the Bob Newhart show, like in colleges. They would sit around and they would watch these repeats of the Bob Newhart show, and every time somebody said, "Hi, Bob," everybody had to do a shot.
That's right.
And the goal of of playing the game was to see if you could make it through a whole episode without getting so wasted that you couldn't get up off the floor. And every time you call, I think about that drinking game.
Hi, Bob.
Because you think I'm wasted.
No. Just
because it's fun when you're on. That's why.
No, you're worse than wasted. You're a liberal. You're worse than wasted.
Oh, please, be gentle.
Okay.
Come on.
I've worked all day, and I'm sitting here in the parking lot waiting for my food to come out.
Okay.
And so I'll give you where I am, and I got some questions and some comments if you can handle it.
Okay. Fire away.
Okay, number one, the Tea Party is the best thing that has ever happened to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
It is absolutely the best thing. I happen to have, if you can spare me some minutes, I happen to have Sirius Radio because I changed my car.
Okay.
And I've gotten a Republican guy on POTUS. Okay, I don't know if you know that. He was talking today about the damage that the Tea Party has done to the Republican Party. And it's just driven more and more people, either independent or Democrat, and I love it. In fact, I will send you a donation to keep up.
All right,
Bob.
Bob.
Great.
It's great, Bob.
Thank you, Bob.
But don't make it a token donation.
I'm not finished. Where do I send it?
All right, don't make it a token donation. Make it a serious donation.
Go right to the United West, and you can
Or
make
you
a
can
donation.
go to Trento Vision.
Trento Vision, and there's a little button that says "Donate securely."
I'll do it.
Okay.
It's $100.
Thank you, Bob.
That's good.
That's good.
That's
Now,
good.
do I get to...
I'll
Maybe
do
I
it.
should play a drinking game when you call.
Yeah.
And every time Bob makes
Every
a donation,
time-
we'll do a shot.
Every time you make a donation, we'll do a shot. Every time we say, "Hi, Bob," when you're on the air, we're going to have a shot.
Why do you save me for last?
Well, you call last. That's why. There's the whole
Because
thing.
I called early. Anyway.
No, there's about 4 people online, actually.
No,
Bob.
there were 3 people before you. One of them dropped off.
Okay, I apologize.
Okay.
Okay, second thing. You had somebody earlier call, and I listened on the drive about constitutionality. Okay, and the fact that we're going. I want to ask somebody to go back about 10 years and talk to me. Now, I know you're not going to like this.
Okay.
But talk to me about the constitutionality of us invading Iraq. Okay? Did we go through a constitutional process to do that?
Okay, we're not talking about the Iraq War today, but what's your next issue?
All right, next issue is I heard a guy named Ken Crow.
Uh-huh.
Right.
I can't believe you let this guy say this. I heard him say that socialism overthrew the Roman Empire, and that was
Socialism.
bad.
What?
Are you kidding?
That's what he said.
Did he? I didn't. I was out of the room at that time.
Was I out of the room?
Yeah,
when
we
he
were both
said
out
that?
of the room at that time.
Well, most of you were out of the room because the guy's a bozo. Okay, the guy's from Arkansas or Oklahoma or wherever.
Are you prejudiced against people from the South?
Why do you hate
this
people from
country?
Arkansas, Bob? Why do you
That's
hate
not
people from
nice.
Arkansas, Bob?
I don't. I live in Arkansas. I live in Oklahoma. I've been all around.
Bob, I think
love
your
kids.
agenda here today is you want to take up as much time with as many items as you can on your list because you don't want us to talk about sequestration. Is that it? And actually,
Bob.
that would be another reason why I would be thanking you for calling.
Ken was talking about. First of all, he's from Iowa, not Arkansas or Alabama, and
He
was,
didn't get that accent from Iowa.
No, I think he's from Alabama originally. He'll tell you he's a cowboy. He was actually a professional rodeo rider, and he was a professional bull rider. That's where he. And he's been on ESPN and all that. Remember all the years ago he was a big bull rider. But He was making a philosophical statement that many philosophers and historians have written as to why Rome fell. What caused this great society to fall? And one of the theories is that one of the theories is a focus on sensual pleasure as opposed to and extending the war capability. But one of it is redistributing a lot of the money to keep the fighters out there protecting the oligarchy, the ruling class. So he wasn't talking about socialism as it is today, but one of the historic theories as to why Rome fell. But anyway, what is your last question or comment?
Last point in the list of nations that has the best quality of life, where do we stand?
Well,
who's the study written by?
Yeah, who's it written by? Yeah.
Come on, guys. Come on. You know the list.
We're number one, quickly descending to who knows where.
No, we're never number one on the list. It's always somebody in Scandinavia.
Yeah, but
it's always
baloney.
But that's why we said who did the list.
Why is that, CJ?
I can't imagine. I would be horrified to find myself living in Scandinavia.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually. Have you been to Scandinavia?
There are countries of 3 million people that are all the same. They're all white Scandinavians.
Well,
they're all monolithic.
No, they're not.
No, they're not. That's not true. They're drawing immigrants like crazy. They have problems there.
Yes,
yeah,
of course.
they do.
Of course.
They do.
Look.
But seriously, Bob, can I ask you a serious question? Because you had 20 plus years in the military of serving this country. Really, honestly, and seriously, do you think there's any better place to be? And can you imagine that you would actually move somewhere else out of the United States? Seriously.
No, of course not. I can answer for him. Where's he going?
That's a rhetorical question. Of course.
No, I'm serious because I'm serious. That tells us the true answer right there, because I have yet to speak to somebody who wasn't affiliated with the Hollywood community, who thought and therefore wanted to move to Paris, who thought that there really is a better country to be in than the United States. Well, except for some of my Canadian relatives think that Canada's better.
You sound Canadian anyway.
Yeah.
But CJ, are a lot of American expats going down to Central America?
Yeah, they
South
are,
America?
because their dollars go further in their retirement.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
And the quality of life is better, right? In retirement?
Well, they're retiring, so they're going to have a different lifestyle than they would if they lived here.
They've collected their retirement. That they see the cost of living going up in the United States beyond their means.
Yeah.
And what's happened? Because I've actually talked to a lot of people when I was down in South America. I spent a little bit of time down there, and I met a lot of those expats that you're talking about.
Where in South America? Where in South America?
We got people on hold.
But real quickly, the core essence of it was that they are doing it purely for financial reasons, because they get more bang for the buck.
Plus, they're chasing the sun.
Yeah, they're chasing the sun. So that's
all right. Thanks for calling, Bob. Have a good weekend.
Have a good weekend,
Ken, by the way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ken, by the way, is from Texas. That's where he gets his drawl and everything. So he's from Texas. I got a text from Texas. We got Liz on the line. Let's grab Liz, then I'll explain sequestration. Hi, Liz. You're with Tom and CJ, Mike and Mark.
Sesquicentennial.
Niagara Falls.
All right, Liz, what you got?
My question is for CJ.
Uh-oh.
Does the Bob Newhart drinking game story go with your waterbed story?
Oh, that's good. That is very good.
I have talked too much today.
You say too much, CJ. We've got the truth out of you.
Seriously,
I think you know the answer.
Called, Liz?
Okay, that's all I had.
Okay, thank you.
Just a rip on CJ. I like those calls. Any other calls want to rip on CJ, just go ahead. It's a rip on CJ day.
I think she got her answer.
Thank you for calling, Liz.
Liz is very astute.
I want you to know that my mother is listening today, so really, thank you very much.
Let me try to sort this sequestration thing out. which is happening in 1 week.
So what is sequestration?
Sequestration. Okay. You ever been on a jury?
Yes.
All right. On some jury trials, the way the judicial system works in America, there's a trier of fact. It's either you can select a jury, you have a choice usually, or you can select a judge.
Mm-hmm.
And usually a decision is made based upon a lot of different factors. But if you
That's
select...
helpful, yes.
Well, yeah. I mean, it may be a local thing, and your lawyer knows the judge, and he knows how he handles all this stuff and all that. But on some extended cases where the jury really can't find anything out about the media, it would influence their decision on extended trials for weeks or months. The jury gets
sequestered.
Sequestered. Well, what does that mean?
Protected from outside influences from the media or any other type of sector would influence their decision in the court of law.
They're actually taken from the courtroom.
They're taken away
in a van to a hotel with no phones, no nothing. They could stay there. There's guards there that guard them and watch them and all that. They can't get newspapers. They can't get anything. No computers, nothing.
But they're not castrated.
They're not castrated. They're
just
sequestrated.
sequestrated.
They're sequestered.
and you don't have to wait.
They're placed safely until the disposition of the trial.
Right.
Well, also during trials, here's where the term came from. Then we'll apply it to the economic issue. In certain trials, when there's a battle over property or money, something of value, and it's liquid in some extent or could become liquid, the court will sequester that item, whether it's a home, a car, or jewelry, whatever.
It's protected.
The court will say, all right, we're fighting about this. This is going to take 6 months. You say you own it. You say you own it.
We don't want Bob burning the car. We don't want Liz torching the car because she doesn't want Bob to have it. So we're taking the car.
We're
putting it over here.
sequestering it. We're taking it and putting it in Al Gore's lockbox.
I was going to say in a
lockbox.
Goes in the lockbox. Okay.
In the lockbox.
That's pretty good. One of our guests can do Al Gore's era. Let's hear that again.
Well, we put it in the lockbox for protective reasons.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Stay tuned next week when our special guest will recite
Yes.
Forrest Gump's
Yes.
favorite lines.
All right, so now we have a concept of sequestration, to take something and to protect it to some extent. This sort of applies to the current use of the situation. Here's where it came out of. It came out of a decision, a congressional act in 1985, where the legislator said, you know, when we're creating a budget in the United States of America, nobody knows what the hell is going on. Everybody says a bunch of numbers, and nothing ever makes sense.
And it's never right.
Right? So we're going to protect that. We're going to come up with a penalty system that mitigates the difference between the budget or the budget resolution and the actual money appropriated by Congress. Okay, let's say every year the Congress has to pass a budget resolution.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Then the president has to sign it or bring his own budget. The president
Except
hasn't
for
done.
this president and this
He's-
Senate and
He's been MIA.
Yeah.
But there's a budget resolution number in America, and let's say it's we'll use it on a family basis. Let's say we have a $200 budget to buy food this week.
Okay.
It's pretty understandable for everybody.
Right.
We got $200. We budgeted $200 to buy food. Well, unbeknownst, and we're a family, the five of us in here. Unbeknownst to
you ain't getting much food, Tom.
You and I put the budget together for the week, but unbeknownst to us, these three appropriated, spent more money than that.
They went to 7-Eleven, bought all their cigarettes.
Rotten minions and henchmen that we are.
Your thugs and minions bought beef jerky and cigarettes.
They sent in, they faxed in their orders to Publix and everything, and they spent $300. So we budgeted $200. They actually potentially spent $300, right? How much over budget is that?
$100.
$100 over budget.
Right.
Okay. So what sequestration means is when congressional committees appropriate independently, not knowing if there's 10 of them this week meeting, and the Ways and Means appropriates money for whatever, building bridges, and military over here, they don't really talk to each other to figure out where are we in the budget. So they go over, just like these guys haven't spoken to us about our $200 budget.
Right.
They went $100 over. So when that happens, there's a federal law that says, guess what? The Treasury isn't going to give you $300. The Treasury's only going to give you the budget resolution number, $200. We're going to sequester. We're holding back that other $300.
That other 100.
That other 100.
Right.
We're holding back that other 100 over here. You ain't getting it. So you just spent $300 potentially. You're only getting $200. You guys go figure out where you're cutting.
Right.
Publix isn't getting paid.
Publix isn't.
Yeah.
It's not Treasury's. The penalty comes out of Treasury. Treasury Department says we're not giving you $300. We're only giving you $200. We're holding back. We're sequestering $100. You got $200. Go figure it out. And now all of us got to get together and go, damn, we only got $200. How are we going to do this? Right?
Oh, we're going to cut Grandma's wheelchair.
Hang on. So
it gets
we
worse.
being the super committee of 12.
It gets worse. Through the years, this was in 1985, sequester came out.
Yeah.
Through the years, as the committees tried to figure out, all right, how are we going to make this? Because the original intent was there will be a percentage deduction in each department from the $100. The $100 on each department will have the same amount of deduction percentage-wise.
Mm-hmm.
But because of sacred cows, Medicare, Social Security, they have been carved out.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't sequester if Social Security, Medicare over budget. You can't sequester that money. That has to be over budget.
That's the biggest.
Now
budget.
watch what happens. If you have to spend that money, now you've got to cut all the excess money from the existing programs, which are flimsy to start with. And if you do that, it's going to devastate some of these existing programs. Thus,
and if it's this administration, it's going to be defense.
Yep, and thus the devastating economic consequences that are going to occur. That's where we're at.
And so 90% or whatever the percentage is, 90% of the budget that's going to go out there is going to go to the Medicare and to the
sacred cows,
which cannot be touched. And that's your $200, if you will, for all your bills. And there's nothing else left over to pay for it because you've run this thing, this cow all
and
the
the
way to the top.
Republicans are trying to say, dollar for dollar. They're trying to get those sacred cows cut, but they're not going to be. But the military is going to get devastated, and
that's the whole
where we're at.
point.
And that happens in 7 days from today.
Oh my God!
Oh yeah,
destroys the military, isn't that?
Do I get to keep my cracker jack?
Yes, you do. We have 1 minute left.
Thank the Lord.
Al Gore gets to keep his cracker
This
jack.
this is really swell, guys.
Yeah, well, it's going to be very. I think we need to track the sequestration process.
Because everything else gets cut other than the sacred cows. So.
Yeah, and it's going to devastate a lot of programs. And I think what we'll do, we'll look into what they are. And again, here's where the Tea Party can shine in many respects. So next week, for our viewers and listeners, we will dive into this issue.
And our new studio.
Yeah. Make some sense out of all
I
of
don't
this.
know if we have worked out yet how we're going to be taking calls.
Yes, we're going to have a new number.
We're going to have a new number, but just in case it's not ready on
Speak it to
Monday
here when
and
you
you
take
want to
calls.
get in touch with us,
Speak it to
please
here.
just go online and keep in touch with us through the chat room.
Well, we'll make it live on, yes.
Yeah.
We'll have it posted.
And our email address and trentovision.tv. So
And it's going to work perfectly.
It's going to
it's going to look fabulous.
Fabulously perfectly.
Yes.
You all have a wonderful time now.
And I want to thank everybody here at...
Thank everybody for the BBC.
Let's thank everybody here at BBC, Kenny.
Hey, everybody.
All right.
For their...
Fabulous,
super
man.
hospitality
Yes.
and kindness, and
Bob actually
we
wants
just
us to
love
come
all
back
of
in
them,
once a week.
He
says come back in once a week, and maybe we will.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah,
see.
come
Once
back
in a
in.
while, we'll do a guest appearance.
Yeah,
But
a guest
until
appearance
then-
in our own
until
studio.
then, happy trails to you. We'll meet again. Happy trails.
Thanks for tuning in to Trento Vision, where bad ideas get pulverized and the truth will set you free. Tom Trento can be reached at 561-319-5533 or tom@trentovision.tv. And tune in again weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on AM 1470 WNN. The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors. It's our responsibility to educate our children about the seriousness of drug abuse. Let them know there are other alternatives besides drugs to deal with their problems. Don't let a substance keep a child from living. This message from ID Transport, where service is more than a word.